Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you?
Yes. Because we have people. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm just.
Ready? Aloha. We will call the meeting to order. It is 7 o'clock here in the land of Aloha. My name is John Clark. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Ava Neighborhood Board. We'll start with reading of the rules. Vice Chair Alex Gauss.
Yeah, thank you. Aloha. This is your community public forum. Your input and cooperation are really appreciated. The Evan Neighborhood Board is an advisory board, and we provide fairness, integrity, and collaboration to all to increase and assure effective citizen participation in the process in the decisions of government. Anyone wishing to speak is asked to raise their hand, and when recognized by the chair, to address comments to the chair. Speakers are encouraged to keep their comments under 1 minute, one turn per person. Those giving reports are urged to keep their reports less than 3 minutes and presentations under 10 minutes. Please silence all electronic devices. The board will make a good faith effort to provide the public with the opportunity to observe the meeting as it happens and an opportunity to provide oral testimony without a physical presence in the physical meeting room. Please ensure that your computer or phone is muted unless you are speaking. Note the board may take action on any agenda item. As required by the state sunshine law, specific issues not noted on this agenda cannot be voted on unless added to the agenda. A 2/3 vote, 8 of this 11-member board is needed to add an item to the agenda. Items may not be added if they are of major importance and will affect a significant number of people.
Thank you, Vice Chair Gauss. And with that, we start with introduction of board members, beginning with Vice Chair Gauss, moving through the room and then online.
Aloha, everyone. Alexander Gauss.
Hi, John Rogers.
Aloha, Susan Gorman Chang.
Aloha, Corey Rosenlee.
Thank you. And now for the three folks online, I believe it's three. We'll start with Noah.
Hey guys, this
Zach.
is Noah.
Zach,
Good evening, everyone. This is Zach Espina.
and Mr. Plowman. Mike, are you talking? If you are muted and we cannot hear you. We can see you, can't hear you yet. This is like a recurring theme, Mike. Just want to let you know. Okay, Mike, we can't hear you yet, but we can see you. We'll come back to you a little later on. Okay. Before we kick off the official proceedings, I'd like to say Happy New Year. I would like to thank all the members in the gallery here, all of you for coming. This will probably be televised at some point. So I just want to take a moment and to genuinely appreciate the folks that are here in the meeting room. I was talking to board member Susan Gorman Chang earlier about the history of this board, and those of you that have been in the community for a while over the past decade, chair and vice chair and secretary, we've been on the board for quite a while. Board member Tynanis, I think has been on the board longer than I, but it's been a very interesting transition over the years. I was telling Susan this used to be somewhat of the wild, wild west, is what others have described it to me as. There's a chuckle over there. But really, it takes a lot of time, effort, and energy, not just by the board members in the meeting space, but those online as well, because they spend other time, whether it's on subcommittees or doing other things, to communicate with the community. And I just like to express, as chair, some degree of appreciation for all that they do, not just, again, in the meeting space, but elsewhere. With that, we'll jump right into public safety first responder reports. Reminder, limited to 3 minutes each report. Follow-up questions and answers are limited to one turn, 1 minute per person. Questions in private or in writing to these officials before or after they speak will be greatly appreciated in the interest of time. Starting with Honolulu Fire Department Duty Officer. Sir?
Good evening. My name is Captain Brendan Doan with the Ewa Beach Fire Station. Today I have our statistics for December 2025. We had 2 structure fires, 1 brush fire, 1 nuisance fire. Nuisance fires include rubbish fires that are outside of a structure or a vehicle. And we responded to 23 activated alarms where there were no fire present. We responded to 185 medical emergencies, 1 motor vehicle collision involving a pedestrian, 5 motor vehicle crashes, and 3 hazardous materials incidents. Our fire safety tip of the month is electrical safety in the home. Just check your electrical hazards around your home. And some tips for your HANA to keep your HANA safe is plug 1 heat producing appliance, such as a coffee maker or toaster, into a wall receptacle outlet at a time. Your major appliances, your dryers, your refrigerators, and stoves should be plugged directly into a wall receptacle outlet without any extension cords or power taps or power strips that should not be used. Check your electrical cords. Make sure that people are not running across the doorways, and make sure they go under carpets so that we don't fray the lines. And then just to ensure electrical work is performed by a licensed electrician. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from members of the board? Seeing none. Any questions from members of the community in the physical meeting space? Any questions from members of the community online? Seeing none? Okay.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank
Be
you.
safe.
Happy New Year.
Moving on to Honolulu Police Department, APD duty officer. Do we have him online, Melissa?
Aloha board members and EVA community. Sergeant Moroka with HPD District 8 Community Policing. I have the stats for December 2025 crime stats. Motor vehicle thefts, we had 24 in our district, of which 12 were in EVA. Burglaries, 9 in our district. EVA had 2. Thefts, 105 were reported. EVA was 27. Vehicle break-ins, 15 in our district, 3 in EVA. 70 speeding, 550 moving violations, parking violations, 332. Total citations issued was 1,211. Total cost for service in District 8 was 8,521. EVA, 2,760. That's the crime stats. Any questions?
Questions from members of the board? Coralie?
Thank you. Just to share my experience in the last couple of weeks, I have seen e-bikes with children on them going 40 miles per hour on sidewalks. In my neighborhood, I have seen children without helmets doing wheelies going back and forth. And I'm just waiting for something. You know, we've already seen in this community accidents occur. So my question to the police is, what are the barriers to better enforcement on what is clearly illegal behavior with children on e-bikes?
What are the barriers? Like preventing us to do enforcement? Is that the question?
Well, the question is it that you don't feel the law is strong enough to do enforcement, or is it that you don't have enough manpower to do enforcement? What are the things that, you know, I've seen this problem increase, getting worse, and I'm just wondering, you know, what makes it difficult for the police to actually, you know, try to curtail this behavior?
So, okay, thank you. So we have successfully done a few enforcement operations and made some arrests. I believe we did 3 enforcements in the evenings in 2025 from July to December, and made arrests of juveniles, took the e-bikes away and returned them to the parents only after they show proof of ownership for them. These are mostly geared towards the Soran type e-vehicles, which are more like motorcycles. So these are illegal to be on the roadway completely. They're like basically dirt bikes, but a lot more quiet and hard to know that they're approaching if you're driving on the roadway. So they're more dangerous. Yeah, and they are going like up to 60 miles an hour, driven by youth that don't have a driver's license. They don't know anything about traffic laws. So, but yeah, we did do enforcement and made some arrests, citations.
Okay, thank you, officer.
Yeah.
One follow-up.
Is there anything that you need from the community or from the legislature or the city council in order to make your job easier when it comes to enforcement?
I think the parents that are purchasing these bikes for their kids aren't aware that they're purchasing something that's dangerous for them and illegal. So maybe like forcing the retail outlets that sell these products, make sure that they inform the purchasers that they are illegal for the road.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Things like that. Yeah.
Mr. Board Member Rogers?
Hi, thanks for being here. I just mine is more a favor or a request to ask of you. I'm a almost daily commuter from Westlock area, Eva, all the way into Kalailoa Industrial Park, almost daily for the last couple months. And coming back, well, there's two intersections that I'm concerned with. Going towards Kapolei at the Kapolei Parkway and Kulakai intersection. When you cross, you got all the folks on Kapolei Parkway making it left onto Kulakai to go towards the highway. So do you got the picture? Does that make sense to you? And there's two lanes turning left, and the light, I don't know what's happening, but I get the little white guy, the little walk signal ready, and I'm going to cross at that intersection, and there are still cars barreling through the intersection. So that tells me that they're running a red light. So if you have any power of getting red light cameras, that would be a good place, because they can't see us because of the way they're barreling through there, people trying to cross that intersection. So that's Kapolei Parkway and Kulakai, making the left-hand turn onto Kulakai from Kapolei Parkway. And it's happened to me so many times where I've seen the walk sign, and now I've got it in my mind. Don't move until you make sure that it's clear. Because a couple times I started going into traffic, and it scared me. The other intersection is Kapolei Parkway and Renton Road. So coming back into Eva, I need to make that left onto Renton Road to go back home to Westlock. And there's the right turn lane says, there's a sign that says no turn on red. But I can't tell you how many people I've seen turn on red. So you get there, like they have a red light and they're turning. Meanwhile, I got the little white guy again, the little walk signal. Sorry, but I got the little walk signal there saying go, and you always got to pay attention. And that walk signal is really short there. So if I don't catch it, immediately, I could lose my turn, and I haven't yet, but so I'm just asking if you could patrol those areas, look at it. I was just at a transportation forum today, and they actually asked us to talk to police officers when we have the opportunity to tell them about problems at intersections or speeding or whatever. And so I'm doing my due diligence of what we were asked to do. So I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I can bring that up to our patrol division, and the beat officer can keep an eye on that, those intersections, and do some enforcement. So thank you.
That would be excellent. I would like to point out, I learned two new phrases this last couple of months. I heard someone talking about walking against the red palm. Oh, the do not, and now it's just the little white guy. So thank you, John. I really appreciate that. So seriously, thank you, appreciate it. Moving on. Oh, I'm sorry. Any other questions from the community? Please state your name.
Aloha, guys. Happy New Year. I'm Representative David Alcos. Officer, I've been hearing about some game rooms in our community, Eva Beach area. Could you elaborate a little bit about that or know how much game rooms we get in the surrounding area, if you know any?
Actually, recently I haven't heard of any new ones. We've had some in the past that we were able to shut down and get search warrants on, and those did not return. So if you have any information on new ones, I can give that information to our narcotics vice division and have them look into it.
Thank you. And on New Year's Day, I just want to say you guys did a great job. I think Eva Beach went slow down a lot based on the New Year's, and I appreciate all the work that you guys been putting into. Mahalo. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep.
Thank you, Rep.
Any other questions from members of the community? See any online? Seeing none? Thank you, sir. Moving on to Eva Weed and Seed Unit. Do we have an officer present? for
Yeah,
that?
I got that section. Good evening, board members, members of the community, Corporal Pagan, Tohono Police Department, District 8, Weed and Seed. Actually, we don't have much to report for Weed and Seed other than that we do want to thank Target for their participation and for partnering with Weed and Seed Hawaii for the Shop with the Heroes this year. It's we're able to service 50 children from within the district, from Eva to Makaha. They were able to shop. We were able to raise about $100 per child to do shopping with a police officer, firemen, even some FBI agents, including the chief of police came out. So I want to thank Weed and Seed and Target for that. Along with that, I hope this isn't a little bit too personal, but Mitch, we wanted to send condolences to you and your family on the loss of your father. Your membership and value to Weed and Seed as well as the community has been amazing, and you've always talked about how your dad was always your model and stuff like that. So our condolences go out to you. Other than that, I got no comment. Any other comments or questions or concern?
Thanks, Oli.
Any questions or comments for the Weed and Seed officer? Okay. Seeing none. Thank you, Officer Pagan. Stay safe, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on to item 3 alpha on the agenda, Board Administration and Planning, approval of regular meeting minutes. Any corrections? Seeing none. Okay. Minutes shall be approved. Item 3B, continued discussion proposal. I need to stop talking. Continued discussion, proposal, and possibly pending resolution regarding handling or managing information received between board meetings. So the context of this is over time, the board continues to evolve. So at some point over the past couple of meetings, it occurred to me that we really need to do a better job of managing the information that comes in to the chair as well as other board members. Especially when we turn over a new term and we get new board members on, because not everyone is familiar with the Sunshine Law rules and that we can distribute information via email, because all of us are connected in an email chain, but we really are not supposed to discuss it. So information comes to the chair either through the official NCO office, through mail, and I usually get hard copies here, but often I will get scanned email copies, or just sometimes I get emails from elected officials, everyday citizens wanting to know something or wanting to share something. Sometimes it's good news, sometimes it's bad news, but it came up, and so I just thought we would open it up for discussion. And we've actually had some people weigh in, a couple board members weighed in that they want to continue the discussion. So as the rules go, we cannot have the discussion as a board unless we put it on the agenda. So I again place it on the agenda for this month to facilitate discussion. So with that, I'll open it up for continued discussion, proposal, and pending resolution. Comments from members of the board?
Yes, Susan Gorman Chang. Yeah, Yeah, I understand that there can't be discussion, and we can put on emails, for information only if we want something, say, on the next agenda. But I know the one example was we were supposed to put forward parks where we would like dogs allowed. When there's like a decision like that that needs to be made in between meetings, how do we handle that? And if it doesn't fall under a committee or a committee has already met, I mean, it's somewhere in between there.
So that's a great question. So typically what happens is we'd have to call a special meeting, and it can be done. But it follows the regular rules of the sunshine laws. We have to put forth an agenda. That agenda has to be published, was it 7 days, 6 days? 6 days ahead of the meeting. So that can be done. In that particular case with the dog park, I think members of the committee, that notification came afterwards. It was, I think one of the meetings was in recess, so there was a lot of that happened in between there. Yeah, so our Parks Committee is pretty active. So in that one particular instance, it was almost like a perfect storm. But I do want to add, I think Board Member Rogers followed up with a comment, or was that you, Susan? When you had followed up with the person, the point of contact at the city and county, and they're still willing to take the input.
Yeah. Yes, they're willing to take the input.
Okay.
So I'll bring that up, see you in an email about bringing it up next meeting. And in this case, so communication, can I send out a list of all the parks and like make it into like a little spreadsheet or something so that everyone can say, check off, this is where I want to do leash dogs. This is where, so then when the meeting, they've done their homework and they can say, this is what I voted on, this is what I voted on, and we take the common denominator with the most votes for each park.
Yes, there's 2 points to that question, so 2 answers. You can distribute information.
Yeah.
We cannot talk about it. The second part is we have to put it on the agenda. So as long as we cover those 2 areas and we hold to not discussing it, we can get her done. So another example is, I think about 9 years ago, Mitch, you predated me on the board. It was a stretch where we had like 10 days of 99-degree weather days here in Eva. And we were in between board meetings, and one of the teachers at Eva Beach Elementary passed out. And I was the education chair at the time. I called an emergency meeting of the education committee, and we met at Eva Beach Elementary School during the day. I called the media and said, hey, you really need to see how hot it is at this school, because there was no AC. Well, I think the admin building had AC and the special needs building had AC. So they came out, the media came out, but I had to publish it. I had to publish an agenda. We sent it out, and I think 1 or 2 of the elected officials. I think Corey, were you there? No, I think you were with the HSTA at the time. I want to say you were. I have video. Yeah. So, but anyways, John and Susan. So that was the protocol, was coming up with the agenda, and it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. Just it's basically this agenda that we have, rules of speaking, then where you're meeting, and a small agenda. It could be 3 or 4 items that you want to talk about. Alex?
Yeah, thanks for that, Chair. I guess my comments are going to be not really related to that. They're more about how we communicate as a board, and it's more about structure, right? So I want to be super clear that my comments aren't about any one individual or anything like that. But I want to highlight that all board members are equal, right? All of us. If you're a vice chair, if you're a chair, if you're treasurer, that doesn't really matter. Those positions are really procedural. And we're here to facilitate the meetings, but they're not meant to act as like gatekeepers or to filter information, whether that be on purpose or just, incidentally. And so, in practice, the members of the public most often contact the chair, and sometimes the vice chair, sometimes other officers, and that's natural, right? But structurally it creates a problem because information becomes concentrated in a small number of roles, and the rest of the board may receive it later or they may not, right? And so it might be in summarized form, or they might not get it at all. And this, even when done in, say, in good faith, if you're a chair, whether it be the current chair or a previous chair or a future chair, it places those officers, including myself as vice chair, in a role that we're really not meant to have, right? This is not about trust or intent or anything like that. It's really about structure and fairness, and how every board member has access to information and contact from the community. And so, you know, what I would like to do is make a motion that establishes a centralized communication channel or an email really for board business so that all members, whether it be me or whether it be the current chair or whether it be anyone else, has to forward all that email there, and when any future correspondence, when they're responding, everything goes there. So any member of the board is able to log in and just check what is being communicated, how that's being responded to. And that, again, is just about, it's about having clear communications, whether it's deliberate or undeliberate filters, that is the reality. And so this ensures transparency and reinforces how we function as a collective body. And so I think, you know, this approach really works regardless who serves as chair, as the chair, or what, you know, what any other officer role is about. So it's about long-term governance and things like that. So with that, I'd like to make a motion that the neighborhood board establishes a centralized board communication email address for all board related business. And under this motion, any correspondence related to the board business that is received by the chair, vice chair, any other officer, or any other board member shall be forwarded to or copied on the centralized board communication email, so all board members have access to the same information. Likewise, any outgoing correspondence related to board business shall be included in the centralized board communication email as a copy. And this is a motion intended to ensure transparency, equal access to information among all board members.
I will second that.
Board Member Rosalie?
Question. Could this be a separate email from our personal emails?
Yeah, the idea would be, and I'm happy to do this, is to set up an email, and we decide this as a board, right? Just for clarity. I mean, I think most of us know that, but the idea is that we set up an email that say enbcommunications@gmail.com, for example, and everything that comes in and goes out via email gets communicated to that. And so anyone can log in. We all have a shared password. We all can log in and see what is going in and coming out.
Question to the NCO, neighborhood assistant, excuse me. Do we kind of have something like that already set up with our Gmail account or with our NCO account with our, no, we just have a repository of information, just a Google Drive. Because since we have, there's no email associated with the Google Drive though? There's a link. Okay. But no email address.
So I think the motion's on the floor to be voted upon, I believe.
Well, there's has to be discussion as well. So it was seconded. Corey had a question. So let's ratchet back, okay, just a little bit so we can discuss these things. Okay, so
I don't need you to speak to me in a derogatory form as far as ratcheting things back. If you want to speak cleanly and clearly, just do that.
Okay, Alex. Clearly, this is meant a little bit not in accordance with your statement, but I'd like to facilitate additional discussion among other board members, if that's okay with you.
It's perfectly okay.
Okay. Corey?
Alex, can you help me here? What exactly is the problem we're trying to solve by doing this motion?
It's not necessarily a problem. Like I said, it's about structure and it's about access to information, right? So the potential problem is that emails are being, obviously the tendency is for people to email whatever chair exists. And so that chair is inevitably acting as a filter. And I don't think for any of us that behooves us as board members. We should all have access to information and seeing what it comes into. And so this just sets up a structure so we could ask the chair member to forward everything to us and everything, but then that creates a huge number of emails to all of us. This is just a centralized location for board members that actually care or are interested. They can go and seeing what is being communicated regarding board business. Does that make sense?
Susan?
Yeah, I think this is an excellent idea. And I think it is needed for transparency, for equality. And it's perfect that it's an email that's set up just for that. And so it doesn't, clog up our personal emails. I really think it's a great idea. I'm surprised we haven't thought of that before. I know when I was on a neighborhood board in California, we had that. So yes, it's a good idea.
And I think it's a great idea as well, which is why I initially brought the idea up several weeks ago. So with that said, do we need a formal resolution or is this just going to be a business rule? we got the motion, yeah. Okay. All right, so you want to do a roll call vote or? Yeah, we can do a roll call vote. Yeah, Melissa said, and we don't have any hands up for discussion. We have 3 people online. Yep.
So basically, any chair, board member, officer, any information for the board itself, is filtered to the NCO. The NCO will add that to that email. All information, is that?
Well, the format that I was thinking about is no, not that way. That simply we CC that email account with every correspondence. So if I get an email from someone inquiring about something, I automatically forward it to that email. Then if I respond, I'm just CCing that email. And then so ideally that would be CC'd moving forward and all that communication back and forth. And if not, then we forward it. Right. And it still depends on us to actually do that. But it's just a way so we can see, like, I think there's things that, I want to know what community members are asking, and I know that I'm not getting those, and I just want to have, and I could ask the chair, but why do that when I can just go in there and see it for myself?
So there is something to think about here, just so we know, and previous chairs will know this. There's a lot of stuff that comes into the chair that's either late in between meetings, or and which is what brought this up to begin with, but also some not good stuff. You get some crazy emails. So it's in, so to that end, Alex, I just want everybody to understand that. So you're going to get some wild emails sometimes. So and I'm not saying that should undermine this process or prevent us from doing it. But my major concern is that we don't discuss business at all, because that has happened, and that was actually the impetus for me asking about this at some point before, when we received a request from an elected official to bring something up, and there was a lot of crosstalk in the email trail, and we should not have done that. So I just want to make sure going forward that does not happen again. That's my only concern.
And I would just say to that, I don't think none of us are going to receive that. If we go in, we'll see it. Just to clarify that point, right? We're not going to actually receive an email. We are going to have access to an email account where everyone can see that.
Okay, I guess I'm still a little confused on the format, but we can work out those details if everyone else seems to grasp it. All right, roll call vote. All those.
Okay. Noah Borgia,
Yeah, aye.
Chair. Zach Espino,
Yes.
Alex Gauss,
Aye.
Susan Gorman Chang. Aye. Bernadette Padas, not here. Michael Plowman,
Aye.
John Rogers,
Aye.
Corey Rosenlee,
Aye.
Mitch Tainanes.
Aye.
Charmaine Valerio is not here. 9 ayes, 0 noes, 0 abstain. Motion adopted.
Thank you, and thank you for that suggestion, Board Member Alex. So that the other part of this, the third part, is pending resolution. So will we require a resolution, or are we pilot that? We good? Okay, I think it'd be good to have a resolution. That way we have the process in writing. Vice Chair Gauss, you good with that?
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if that's the intent of a resolution. I think if we make a motion, it's in the record. We all voted upon it.
It's a process that I'm concerned about. I just want to make sure that the process is laid out clearly so that everyone knows what their roles and responsibilities. It could be something as simple as forward every email you get to this email address, but it should be clearly delineated.
Okay, I mean, I thought I explained it pretty well, but I'm happy to put it in writing. And then if it's a resolution or however, is that the most appropriate way to have it as a resolution? That seems like resolution seems like an odd thing to me.
I don't think you need to write the whereas, now, therefore.
Right.
You could just write more of a business letter format or a letter format that the board has agreed.
It could be one whereas the board has agreed to compile
Yeah.
all the various email communications in this one email
I'm
address.
happy to do that, but I think for you as the chair, just so you understand, I'm talking about creating an email account
Mhm.
that we all access.
Mhm.
And so everything that we receive and that we then communicate with other people, we're CCing, we're either forwarding it to them, and then when we respond, we CC that. So it's an account that all of us can access and see what is being written to the board and then what is also being responded to.
I understand that.
Oh, well, you just said you didn't, so.
Alex, what I said was, I'd like you to put in writing what the steps are so it's clear what our roles and responsibilities.
Okay, John Clark.
Yes,
I'm explaining it to you. Now you're telling me that you understood it.
okay, thank you.
I've got to check the technical nature of this. Without a written resolution, I'm deeply concerned about passing a resolution where in the future we will see the writing of that resolution. I do not know if that stands up to the rules of the neighborhood board or Robert's rules in that case. You know, I do believe technically, if that is the case, that we do not have something in writing, then I think the best thing to do is to actually wait till the next meeting till we have something written to actually vote on it. The reason simply is that if something is added to that resolution that we do not have, or if we want to wait till later on this meeting to actually write something down, I think that would be better than passing something by what I think we all agree upon, but I think we should pass something with specific wording.
I concur. So, which is why I brought up the third item on here is pending resolution. So pending the resolution, and we can put the resolution to be voted on at the next board meeting. Sound good?
Yep, that's fine.
Need a formal motion on that then? I move that we, sorry, we have to do this first. We already voted to move and approve that motion on the resolution. So what we need to do right now is to vote to table the previous motion until the next board meeting. So I move to table it to the next board meeting.
Alex?
I just need clarification because I'm not super up to date on the processes here. So that was a motion. It wasn't a motion on a resolution. So I'm just confused.
We voted on a motion without wording. And so what's
Yeah.
occurring right now is you're asking the basically what then we passed was something orally. It's my fault too. I thought there was something in writing. This is my fault. But without it in writing, and we're just asking you to write something on without having the concrete wording of it, theoretically, you could add anything to that wording and we've already passed the resolution, anything, even the motion. So I'm okay if you want to do it and later on this meeting and do it, and that's fine too. Okay, or we can wait to the next meeting. I'm fine either way, but we should have something in writing, even for just the purposes of the notes of the meeting going on further.
And then just to clarify, is that, so I don't want to write it in the resolution format that we typically see. I just want to lay down some things that we can review as far as what it would like. Is that still a resolution? And that's just what I need.
I believe it should be a resolution. Here's why. And that's why I wrote the agenda item as such. I wrote the agenda item and I read it specifically. Continued discussion, which we did, proposal, and then there's the third comment. I don't mean to be pedantic here, but pending resolution. So the pending resolution, that is what we're, in my mind, voting on now, because we don't have a resolution now. The reason why I believe it should be a resolution, because I think once you see, Alex, once we get into this, there's some smaller expectations of roles and responsibilities. In other words, when do we have to forward this email? By what time frame? By what date? By what number of days, et cetera? There's a lot of other smaller stuff that's involved in this that if the board members are going to be expected to do this, they should be given a fair directive so that they can follow the guidance. To Corey's point, I think we could just say, whereas this resolution or this proposal was provided at the previous board meeting, it was agreed, and then whatever the vote was, and then we go on from there with the resolution. Just one whereas that the following email will be set up, an expectation that board members will forward emails, etc.
Yeah, I'll do that for the next meeting.
Excellent.
So technically, we have to move on that motion, second it, and the vote on it, that did pass already. So I move to table the previous question on the
If I
continued
could-
discussion.
Correct.
Okay.
Actually, the way I wrote it is, I should have said pending a resolution. So it was meant to be to cover those two things and then have a resolution when we get to it, if we get to it. And we are at it now. So I don't believe we need to do a second vote. Okay. All right. So we agree that there's going to be a resolution at the next month's meeting. So I'll put that in on the agenda and then Alex can create it from there. Yes, ma'am.
When it comes to the centralized communication email though, where would you guys want it posted? Like how would people know to send information to that email?
I think,
Would it be on the
I don't
website?
think that's necessary. I think that, and this will be in the write-up next month, so it's more clear, is that whoever gets it, so the chair is going to be the primary contact and will remain that because that's who people write to. They are responsible for forwarding and then further communication, copying that email address, rather than putting that out there as the primary point of contact, although that could be an option as well.
Thank you, boss. Okay, moving on. Item number 3C. And I forget what this is, actually. I added this one. Board approval of chair letter to DHHL and developer requesting a board presentation. Oh, actually, someone asked me to add this to the agenda, that we need to ask a developer to come to the meeting. Was it you, Alex, or John? This, I think it was you, John. Could have been Alex. This deal between DHHL was in Civil Beat, where there's some kind of special deal being made by a developer and DHHL, where they're purchasing land, right? Yeah. Right. So there's an interesting deal that appears, I'll say appears, because that's what was said in Civil Beat, to sidestep specific zoning laws. So it was expressed in email that we send an invitation to DHHL and the developer. But in order to do that, as a board, we have to vote on that if we're going to request that they come do a presentation here. So I'll write the letter. Yeah. So if we're going to write it, who's going to write the letter? And Susan, it's the same thing with the Christmas tree, right? So if we have a board member that's representing them, the board outside of the board, they have to be formally delineated to do that. Yep, Alex.
So I guess I'm just wondering how this plays into any time we want to ask anyone anything as a board member. I just want, where's the delineation on that? You know, if I'm reaching out to someone and I want information about a development somewhere, and I'm just curious, hey, can you give me some information? And so what differentiates that from this where we're asking for a presentation? And that's just an honest question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't understand when we need to be seeking, you know, board approval for communications versus when we don't.
So I think we can invite anyone to the board, but in the official communications, I don't think it was necessarily directed to anyone, but the email was sent to me to invite someone. That's all. So this is just me being transparent about what was requested in the email. Because I don't think the email, did it go to everyone? Maybe it did. I don't know. I think it was just you and Alex on the email. You got it too? Okay.
So I'm still not understanding why are we voting on this particularly versus any other time that we're reaching out to people for a presentation or anything like that? And if anyone knows the answer, I'm asking everybody. It's not, you know.
Chair?
Yes, Corey.
So the way I'm reading John's request, I guess he's requesting that the board from the board, we're asking DHL to present. I don't think there's anything stopping John from requesting DHL ask John to be on the agenda to present. So I think the only difference is that the request is coming from the board. So therefore it would need that vote. Otherwise it would just be in any individual asking at any time for someone to present, and then John would have to decide if he wants to put it on the agenda.
So are you saying that, So John, as a board member, could ask, but John, if you want it to be a solicitation on behalf of the entire board, then it needs to get approval? Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
So you can, what,
Make it simple as I can just write an email and ask the question.
I'm okay with that, but
I will write an email.
to Corey's point though,
I just learned something, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And, I will communicate with the HHL and see if I can get a presentation. And if I
that
have
is,
trouble- well, if I have trouble, then we'll write a letter. I'll draft it.
so a board letter does carry more weight. That's the whole point of this is if we align ourselves, but I can't unilaterally write a letter to someone and say, on behalf of the Ever Neighborhood Board, we want Hawaii State Teachers Association come give us a brief on XYZ 1, 2, 3. So, but if you want to send an email,
I will send an email. If I'm unsuccessful, then I'll come back with a letter from the board to get approved.
I think that's a good plan. Thank you, Board Member Rogers. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Board Member Tananis suggests that we just add DHHL to the agenda. It's probably a smart idea. Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on. We'll strike that one from the agenda, move on. Okay. Item number 3D, in accordance with the neighborhood plan, 3 absences notice for board member Bernadette Potter. Yes, 4 now, so it's at least 3. So as I understand it, for the respective board members, what we have to do as a board is collectively decide whether to vacate the seat or retain the seat. Is there a third option? No? Okay. So vacate or retain. So with that, we'll take a voice vote, roll call vote. Yeah, we'll take a roll call vote. Oh, yes,
Have we had any communication at all from her?
I have not.
But you made attempts to. Okay, I'm seeing the nod over there, so yes, okay.
I sent her multiple emails and haven't gotten any replies. And then with the 3 absence letter, we usually send a certified mail. I haven't gotten a receipt that she received or replied to the letters.
But, as I said at the beginning of the meeting, there's obviously quite a bit of personal time that goes into being on this board, whether it's here just once a month, but there's a lot more behind it. All of us have our respective passions. So when someone doesn't show up for the board, it sort of undermines the entire process, from that person being elected by the community to providing some synergy and value added to the board. So with that, we'll move to a voice vote to motion, and it's one and the same, whether we say vacate or retain. So nice, and I'll say vote to vacate. Voice vote.
I make the motion to vacate for the 4 absences.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Position is vacated. We also have a second member. I'll read the agenda item, neighborhood, in accordance with the neighborhood plan, 3 absence notice for board member Corey Rosenlee.
Chair, can I speak to this motion, please?
You may.
So my wife is a philosophy professor at UH West Oahu. She just wrote a book this year, if any of you want to check it out, Confucianism and Feminism. And believe it or not, in the philosophy world, it did really well. So I've had a very unique opportunity to literally travel the world this year as she's been speaking on this book. I did tell the chair before I left that I would be gone for that time period. And in my teacher heart, I thought that that was an excused absence. I guess that does not exist for the board here. Well, maybe that should exist for the DOE as well, but it doesn't. So I literally was surprised after those 3 that this would come up as well. I take my duty very seriously. I still want to retain on this board and just, I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Did we get to see a slideshow of your travels or anything like that? Okay. Okay, to remain consistent, we'll do the same type of voice vote. Yes, of course. Remember, Alex?
Yeah, thanks. I just say, you know, and I think this goes back to the board communication, that when we're doing this thing, communicate with the entire board. Let's try to do that as a board moving forward, where and I've tried to do that in a lot of the emails where I'm emailing everyone. And so that we're all synced up, right? And I think that would be great, because I had no idea that you were traveling the world, and that would have totally been good cause, right? So.
No. Just kidding.
Okay, all those in favor of motion again.
I make a motion to keep Corey on the board.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Did I see Mike with the hand up?
You did, Chair, but that was not for this. I thought we were, I have a concern about board administration to follow this vote. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Any abstentions? Hearing none? The matter passes. We retained Board Member Rosenlee. Welcome back, Corey. Okay, I understand you're concerned, Mike. However, the item is not on the agenda for board administration and planning.
Well,
so what we've done.
We're talking about
previously-
passing a resolution, and the fact that our resolutions are not making it onto the official record is kind of significant. Maybe we don't need to do any more resolutions if we're not even going to post them. I know that sounds like a smart ass thing to say, but it just seemed like the most important or the most appropriate point in the meeting to bring up the fact that we don't have a number of resolutions from 2024 on the record. We don't have any from 2025.
I understand. I understand your concern, Mike, but again, in order to keep with the agenda, we will have to either table this for an agenda item at the next meeting, or the way we've handled these before is we've been able to address them in open session, so to speak, in part 5 of the agenda, residents and community concerns and community announcements. So you are a resident and you do have a community concern, so we can address it then. If you don't mind, just hold off a little bit. Sound good?
No, I disagree. I think this is board administration, but that's your ruling.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Moving on to presentations, number 4A. I was actually contacted by this gentleman, was it the day before yesterday, I think. He actually had to leave Island for a bit, so we were going to actually postpone this to the February meeting. The proposed new antenna facility at the Coal Creek Golf Course. Stephen Sung, agent to Verizon. So we'll push that one off to next month. Item 4 Bravo, update on the Pueblo Range Training Facility, facility-led working group meeting by Vice Chair Gauss.
Sure.
And again, I'd like to make just a note here. So Board Member, Vice Chair Gauss did not formally request to be on the agenda, but he had put forth in the email chain that he would provide a brief update at this meeting. But again, proper protocol is to put it as an agenda item, unless he would talk about it in community concerns, which would have been appropriate. Vice Chair?
Yeah, indeed. I don't have a presentation, but I will give some updates on the working group, and there is an outline as well available that you can see on the screen here that I just put together before coming here. So just for a little bit, so this is the Pu'alo Range Training Facility Working Group focused on lead contamination issues at the range and in the surrounding area. So just right now, the working group has met twice, and that was the first time in July and December. And this is the first time the group has actually convened despite earlier resolutions by the former representative for District 41. So in the July meeting, we really just set the foundation. We confirmed the previous working group never met. We established quorum and voting rules. Members and that members represent, positions, and that if they will abstain if conflicts arise. And then we really clarified the scope of the working group, and that's that air and water is in the resolution, but soil, dust, plants, and marine life are actually not in the resolution the way it was written. So we all discussed that, and that it was important to take those into consideration as well. We also acknowledge the fact that we don't have, as a group, there is no funding authority, right? So the focus was immediately on reviewing the data and then guiding next steps and identifying the different groups that could potentially fund work and monitoring. In the December meeting, we really moved on to kind of more, we reviewed so that first meeting was really kind of formalities and who's where and what positions and things like that, right? And then in December, we then reviewed the existing data. We went from really process to like substance, right? So we started with all the prior thing that was MCBH spoke about the site investigation report and the the previous REVA process, and also the REVA process is currently happening. We discussed Frieder Foundation shoreline testing that found lead. We talked about the independent fish and dust testing commissioned by former Rep Rose Martinez that found lead, and then UH and the Kuleana coral fish and limu sampling is something that, so they've been testing in front of the range, as well as areas further away from the range to see if there's going to be a signal from lead that may indicate that there is lead coming from the range. And so they have done that. They're still awaiting results of those tests, so we don't know what's happening. They've been waiting for those for about 5 or 6 months now. So it definitely seems like that should be coming in pretty soon, hopefully. And then we know like what the agencies have said. Basically, MCBH said that there's some lead and antimony exceedances in the soil, but basically their conclusions at the end of their test was that no further action was required under the current framework. They also mentioned that when it comes to dust testing, that the REVA relies on modeling and not direct air testing. So there has been no direct air testing. And the 2020 REVA updated delay is not available, but it doesn't include any air testing as well. Is that a timer for me? Okay. So key concerns raised were that from the DOH, from Department of Health, was that they weren't consulted on some of the recent testing, and that there are methodological differences between, the way things are tested, and so that limits the Department of Health's ability to act. They are concerned that erosion and offsite migration is still unresolved, and that with the fragmented data, it's difficult to compare across studies. So really looking ahead, and I thought it was, this most recent one was really a fruitful meeting, and it was, hopefully at the next meeting, if that REVA is available, we'll look at it and see the methods and the results. But really the primary focus, what we're hoping, is that at the next meeting, DOH is bringing in some experts that can tell us what air testing might actually look like and what groundwater testing might look like, which was what was recommended by the DOH. And that would include scope, methods, cost, timing, and authority. And so the goal is to move to general concern to a clear, actionable options that we can take as a group. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Any questions or comments on Vice Chair Gauss's update?
I'm just wondering who's on the working group, because I don't know that for some reason.
Members of the Marine Corps base. We have members of Kuleana Coral. We have Celia Smith. I can't remember where this is available somewhere. Celia Smith from UH. We have Augie Talba in his office, and then we have Julie Reyes Oda in her office. I think that's everyone.
Thank you.
The fisheries component.
Any other questions from members of the board? Seeing none, questions from members of the community? Seeing none, moving on. Thank you, Vice Chair Gauss. Moving on to item number 4C, Exceptional Tree Program. Ms. Roxanne Adams, Department of Parks and Recreation, Division of Urban Forestry. Online? No? Maybe next month. Moving on, to item number 4D, Proposed Community Garden at Asing Park, Anna Mines, DPR Community Gardens Project Manager.
Hello, I'm here online.
Aloha and welcome.
Thank
Please
you for
proceed.
having me.
Yes, of course. Do you anticipate taking the full 10 minutes or something less than that?
Probably less, but if there are questions.
Awesome. Please proceed.
Is it okay if I share my screen?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so before I do that, I'll just introduce myself. Hello, everybody. My name is Anna Mines. I'm the Community Gardens Project Manager with the City and County of Honolulu's Parks Department. We have a community gardening program at 11 community gardens across Oahu. We were founded in 1975, and since the 90s, we haven't had any new community gardens. And so we're really interested in expanding and looking at new locations. We're fairly limited on how many we can expand. Right now, with the capacity that we have in our department, we could add one other community garden. So because we're so limited, we want to be very specific with where we go next. So I will share my screen because I want to really just use this time to direct you to where folks can get information about why we chose this location that I'll explain in a minute. What was the work that was done in the last couple of years to help us select this location, and what are the next steps if this location is indeed a good fit for the community. So that's why I'm here today, is to just share that information and to open up for questions, and also show you that there's a way to provide feedback to me either through email or through our online form, because we just really want to hear from the people who live closest to the location, which is at Asing Community Park, so it's in Ewa. And we're really interested in hearing whether or not that y'all think this is a good fit for that community, not just the location, the park location, but also where in the park we're interested in. Okay, so I'll share my screen. Can you all see that okay? Okay, so this is at honolulu.gov/DPR. You could find it by going to Trees and Gardens, Community Gardening. And this is our homepage. But on this page, what I really want to direct you to is either here on the left, the Planning for Growth menu item, or this button here. And on this page, we talk about why we selected Asing Community Park. So briefly, we surveyed our community gardeners about 2 years ago, and we were interested in asking them a lot of questions to get feedback on the program, but also interested in demographic questions to understand who is currently served by our program, and also who might not be represented. And with that survey, or following that survey, we then hired a food system planner to conduct geospatial analysis. So this is the survey. You can find all the results here. And we also then followed up with a geospatial analysis with the food system planner of Oahu that combined different data points. And I'll open that up really quickly. I definitely encourage people to go in and read this yourself if you're interested in the details. But essentially, we combine two categories of information. One would be park attributes. So what parks are in our jurisdiction that would be a good fit? So that would mean we're looking at parks that aren't golf courses per se, like that's not really where we want to prioritize at this time. We are also not interested in prioritizing parks that already have community gardens, so we can select no for that. We're also interested in parks that have bathrooms, although that's not necessarily a requirement. It is really helpful. We've learned from our gardeners that that's important, partially thanks to our survey and just from years of experience with this program. We also were interested in finding parks that have access to bus stops, because we know that a lot of our gardeners do not drive. The other sort of umbrella category were the community factors. So we were interested in the percentage of multi-unit housing that was surrounding the park, because we know that a lot of people who access the gardens don't have their own gardening space. And multi-unit housing could be condos or apartments where you might not have a yard. We're also interested in percentage of renters, because even if you have a yard, if you're a renter, you may not be able to grow in it. It can be very limiting. And then, like I said, in our survey, we asked demographic questions, and we found that we're otherwise a very diverse program, but we are underrepresented in terms of Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander populations. So we are interested in looking in parks that are in census tracts that have a higher percentage of Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders. We were also interested in looking at parks in areas that have a higher social vulnerability index. This is an index created by the CDC that is explained on this page. You're welcome to go and explore exactly what that means. But we were ultimately interested in this because we know that community gardens can increase resiliency and reduce vulnerability. So we wanted to prioritize the location that served that purpose. And then we're also interested in census tracts that have at least a handful of people living in them. And when we put all that together and we put these filters on and these percentages as the sort of default, this is what the food system planner suggested we do. We get a list of parks that emerge. And the first one is Ala Park, which is a great location, but it's undergoing a lot of change due to transit-oriented development. So we're not interested in necessarily placing a community garden there before we're able to plan alongside those things. But the second one was Asing Community Park. And Asing Community Park, when we took this list and went to our park staff and asked them, okay, on the ground, is this actually realistically a good spot? You know, of course, the data can tell us one thing, but it's the on the ground experience that's really important here as well. We heard from my park colleagues who work at that park, and they were like, yes, we've been trying to do gardening with our park users. There's somewhat underutilized space. There's bathroom, there's lights, there's parking, there's activity, there's there's two public housing units right across the way. There's a bus stop that's somewhat nearby. There's bathrooms. It is a very great location in terms of all the amenities and all of the community factors that we were interested in. And then because we had park staff on board as well, that was exciting. So then the next step is why I'm here, is really getting feedback from the you all and from people who live in the area or who would be interested in gardening. Eventually, at this location, we would love to see if we are indeed accurate in our assessment that this is a good location to prioritize next. And so with that, you can go to this webpage. You could follow the extension that I have up here, or you can type in bit.ly/planninggrowth. That's capital P, capital G. Or you can email me and I can provide all this information in whatever way makes sense for you all. But you can contact me directly. You can go to this website. If you go to the website, I really encourage you to click on the community garden proposal feedback form. This is where you can share some information about the location that we chose. And that's where I'm going to show you right now. This area right here in red was deemed by the park staff to be the better location because it's closer to parking. It would be lower cost to install a community garden because it would be less paving. It is a flat area and it's more ADA accessible. And then it would also be relatively underutilized. This isn't a sports field. There are some picnickers in the area, but it's not the entire area. There is a lot of sun. There's access to water. And there's also light, and it's close to the park's building, which is helpful because a lot of our gardeners like to meet in buildings, not in the garden. All right, I've spoken really quickly. Hopefully got enough information out there, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Casley, can you grab the lights, please? Thank you, sir. Thank you for keeping well within the time frame. We appreciate that. Opening up to the board. Board member.
Hi, Anna. It's nice seeing you again. I'm apologize. You had 2 meetings, and I just want to, and we didn't attend. We were traveling. But anyway, I just want to know what kind of feedback, did you have any attendance for those two meetings? And what was your feedback from those meetings? Thanks.
Yes, so we had one in-person meeting at the park, and that was probably, I think, 25 people. And it was a Friday evening, so that although it wasn't during work hours, it might not be the ideal time for people to attend, but it was the time we had available. And I would say that's a good turnout, given the fact that we're in such early part of this process as well. So I will just caveat that this is only the first of many engagements that we will do, and really this is just to determine the location. There's so much more to be determined, such as the design later down the road once the location and funding is found. But yes, so I think we had good turnout, and we had good response. Most people were really for it. I also met residents at West Lock Elderly and West Lock Modular, also very enthusiastic and for it. There was some concern, which I mentioned, about displacing people who picnic there and people who maybe are parents of kids who doing sports at the courts nearby or the space nearby. And when I talk to park staff, that is something that can be worked out because they are often controlling what kind of activities are happening and where. And then I had one other meeting online, but that had almost zero attendance. One very, yeah.
Thank you. We have another question by Board Member Plowman. Mike, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if you were aware that there's also a lot of keiki practicing soccer there. And I don't know if one organization actually has game in that spot, but as I traveled often to the baseball fields, we pass by there and frequently see goals set up, teams out there practicing. I'm just wondering if you're aware of that, if there was an idea of where they might be displaced to. Thank you.
So I believe that is part of the programming run by the park staff, and if that's the case, then they've informed me that it's that they can easily adjust and just move it slightly north. However, there may be things that are occurring there that I'm not fully aware of, and which is why I would encourage, if you happen to know those people who are participating in that keiki soccer, to fill out the form or to contact me directly and let me know. I'm doing my best to check out the park on the weekends and see what it's like, different times of day, different days of the week. But I need, yes, any feedback about that I might be missing would be very much welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board Member Plowman. One more comment from Board Member Tynenis.
Yeah, I agree with Mike that that field is heavily used by different organizations, soccer and other things, to displace community members that actively using the park and moving them up or around. I think that's a little wrong. I would just rather move the garden above the tennis courts, where I don't think, hardly anybody is using that upper field. And my second question is, how large is this garden, and how many sections or how many community members can use that garden?
Yes, so we are looking for a medium-sized garden because of our 50 years of experience. We've found that a medium-sized garden is the easiest to manage, but also big enough to get a community of people to volunteer, because our gardens rely so much on our volunteers. So that would be about 40 to 60 plots, and that would be at least 40 to 60 people, but oftentimes people are applying alongside a friend or a family member, so that could be double. And in terms of the location, so that'd be about 10,000 square feet roughly, because our plots tend to be 100 square feet each. If we include, depending on the number of ADA beds, that changes the size, also depending on, how many hose bibs and the size of the pathways and stuff, but it would be about 10,000 square feet. The section that you're mentioning that's north of the tennis courts, I'm glad you brought that up, because somebody else also brought that to our attention, and we walked over there and observed the site, and it's not as well lit. It would cost more to pave and create parking so that we could have accessible beds, which is not, a deal breaker. We could look at different kinds of funding to make that happen. But I did bring that idea also to the park staff, and they said that it is actually a utilized area as part of the sports field. So if you're very, very familiar with that spot and you, again, want to make sure I have that in writing, please do fill out the form or email me, and I'll bring it back to the park staff and make sure I understand correctly how that space is used.
Excellent. Any other questions from the community or members of the board? Seeing none in the physical meeting space. Not seeing any online. Thank you for the very informative presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
And good night. Moving on to item 4E, Echo, Tripoli Caniola Boulevard Access Initiative, Vice Chair Gauss.
Thank you. Can we get the lights? Thank you. Appreciate it. So I'm just going to rely on Melissa here to jump through the slides. So I'm presenting this on behalf of the on John Rogers and myself on the Transportation Committee. It's an initiative that we've come up with, and I want the board to be aware of it and hopefully garner more support. Go ahead, Melissa. So as everyone here knows, Eva's among the fastest suburban communities in Hawaii, and obviously one of the things we hear about a lot about is traffic, right? And that's a major concern for residents. Melissa. And so Huakalei and Waikai is rapidly expanding, right? They have the wave pool, they have the lagoon and recreation opportunities, restaurants, event lawn, and that's really great. I mean, I think a lot of us here really like that, but it is increasing traffic, and we've heard concerns and complaints about that here at the board meetings, and so that is a concern. And we know from this recent board meeting that there's a temporary luau that will begin soon, and that'll be followed by a 1,200 person permanent luau in the coming years, and that's going to be also 200 additional staff. So that's going to increase the amount of people coming into our community and through our community, and I think that's going to that's obviously going to add to the traffic, and I think that's a lot of concern that was expressed last month or 2 months ago. Go ahead, Melissa. And so I think one of the big challenges here is that the ingress and egress is all along Fort Weaver Road or Kapolei Parkway, and that's highlighted here in red. So everything comes in and is funneled through this east side. Go ahead, Melissa. And then, so here's just showing the other potential way that they could come in from the east side as well. So those are the access challenges. Next. So we have the single egress, right? All east side tributaries. We have, event traffic causes backup, safety concerns, as we've heard. The new luau then really creates increased bus and shuttle demand. And in addition to those, there's no secondary emergency access route for people in Ewa Beach to get out of Ewa Beach. And there's limited pedestrian and cycling routes to through that area. Next. And so, a long time Ewa community request that's been brought up at multiple things here is a throughway from Ewa Beach to Kaileiloa, because currently you have to go all the way around, as everyone knows if you're a resident here, to get to White Plains or the Kaileiloa beach camping or the Nimitz Beach or anything. You have to go all the way around and go through Kapolei, when we're less than just a couple of kilometers for a direct shot over to those areas, right? Next. And so if we had a route that could go directly, rather than it being a 30-minute drive, it could be a 10 to 15-minute drive, and we could we could walk there literally in 30 minutes. So next, and currently there's no pedestrian, no official way to access White Plains Beach or anything like that over on the west of the Huakalei Resort, right? And I think it's a big limitation for us here living in Ewa Beach. And so what we're proposing is to establish a public vehicular and pedestrian link between Tripoli Street and Keonaula Boulevard, which I'll show shortly. So here you see on the west side is Tripoli Street. It already exists, and there's Keonaula Boulevard on the right. And so you can see how close they are to one another. Next. Right now there's fencing there. Next. And just for reference, this is where the luau is going to be located. So you can still see Tripoli Street and Keonaula Boulevard. And then notice that Waipana Street as well, because I'm going to talk about it here in a second. Next. So here's, at least in the Huakalei plan, this is where they were talking about putting the luau parking lot. I don't know if that's still the case. But so you can see if you were to add a connector, go ahead next, that directly link Tripoli Street over to Waipana, you'd have a quick access. This would allow them to bring in shuttle and other services potentially from the west side and freeing up traffic and pressure on the east side. And it would also provide access for us community members to get over to those areas. Next. A second option is along Essex Road, and these roads already exist actually, but Essex Road is federal and it gets a little bit more complicated, but I think if the powers that be put their minds to it, they can find a solution here. And so these roads already exist or would only require a short connection point. And so it's a very feasible opportunity. Next. I just want to point out that this really aligns with a lot of regional planning. We know that the Kaileloa lands were, a big chunk of them were transferred to the city for recreational purposes. And those of us living here in Eva, obviously we want to be able to access those areas quickly and easily. Next. This also has alignment with a lot of other regional planning, like the Kaileloa Master Plan, which identifies Tripoli as a multimodal corridor. We all city public infrastructure, and it's also consistent with complete streets principles. And so if you're looking at the actual regional planning, so the Kaileloa Master Plan actually shows that connection. And you see it outlined here in red, it's kind of hard to see, but they're actually showing a connector to Waipana Street. Next. And then this other version they have is they actually showing it connecting along Essex Street, right? So it's been contemplated, and it's time to make this happen. Go ahead. So another thing is that we want to activate Kaileloa. For those of you know that there was a carjacking over there just a few weeks ago. You know, part of the solution of that is really activating these areas and getting people in there and providing Eva Beach residents with access can really help curtail that type of stuff. So benefits are really it distributes traffic and reduces stress on the Eva neighborhoods. It supports the luau operations. It adds multimodal pedestrian and bicycle mobility. It improves emergency response and evacuation capacity, which is really key. And then it restores logical travel toward regional coastal recreation for Eva Beach residents and vice versa. So there's a resolution. I'm not going to read it now for questions of time, but I'll be bringing a resolution next month. But basically, it'll be asking to establish, public vehicular and pedestrian connection between Tripoli and Keoneula, and to evaluate both those options that I mentioned with Waipana connection and Essex Road, and to implement the safest, most efficient multimodal access option, and really initiate this evaluation immediately, giving time and reality. There's lots of planning, lots of things happening. You know, we'd like to see this within our lifetimes. And so, you know, if us as a neighborhood board, we can support something like this, I think it would be really good for our community. And yeah, that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Gauss. Questions from the board? Board Member Coy.
Thank you, Alex. It's a really great presentation and really great idea as well. What's the barrier? But no, the question, one of the things you had, and I'm really curious if you reached out to Waikai, it seems like they're going to be able to be building a parking lot in that area.
Yeah.
They're already going to be building a connector in some ways. So is it the federal land and basically that one section needs to be appropriated? Is the city council? Is it federal?
And so, and the truth be told is that we're not entirely clear. And I think as we've tried to so we've asked, I forget the woman's name that she's consistently here from, Lisa from Ocean Point. We've asked her about this on multiple occasions, and she basically just says, "Ooh, it's complicated. I don't really know." You know, so, and we don't know. We've done some homework and we've pinged several people, and it's really difficult to understand what. And so we're just starting this initiative, right? And so I think what we want to do is first get it on the map that this is what something the community wants, and that the neighborhood board wants, as we're also trying to figure out and get people on board. Hopefully we have, representatives of people that are, I use representatives in a general term, people that represent us as a community that would jump on and help push this. And hopefully we can get some traction and figure out, because it seems somewhat convoluted on the, so right now the Keoneula Boulevard is still private. Eventually I'm assuming it's going to go over to the city, right? And so those are all things that need to get figured out. That's typically how it works with these developments. They get turned over to the city, the streets.
And they wanted, when we asked the question.
John, hold on. I'd like to, only because, and the board members will have another opportunity to speak, but we do have Miss Lisa Inanori online. I'd like to give her the opportunity to respond directly to what Board Member Gauss said. Lisa? We can't hear you, Lisa.
Sorry, I had to turn on my video. There's a little bit of a lag there. Okay. So that land over there, as you guys do know, it does have different ownerships on the other side. So it would take developing on the other side to be able to open up along Keoneula, because Keoneula is not lined completely with Tripoli. It is actually above it. So there's different zonings and things like that on our land. And so that alignment that you see and the different alignments that you're showing, those are different possibilities. But Kaileloa, if you pull up your diagram on that other side, all in that undeveloped area on that side, there's a whole bunch of homeless encampments all through that area. So the Navy has blocked off a lot of that area because what they're having is they're having a lot of people in there with either cars, generators, all kinds of different things that are in there that they've actually impeded access throughout that area also. So it's not like we can just open up and be like, all right, go ahead. There's a whole bunch of barricades on that side. So that's kind of what I told you guys before. There's all these different landowners on that side that we would have to work with. And it's not as simple as you guys would think that I can just open everything up. Sorry.
Thank you, Lisa.
But HCDA did have plans to connect up. So it's just, we need a developer on the other side.
Okay. Thanks for that initial response to Board Member Gauss's remark. John Rogers?
Yeah, so we know that it's not simple and there's different land and there are issues on the other side with the barricades. And so we have to figure that out. The point is, Lisa, that I'm taking it that you guys, if this initiative came to be and the city, the county and the state decided that this could be something that's going to happen, then you would be willing to open up your fence or your fence line to make the connection. Is that true?
We would have to take a look at everything once everything was presented. So everybody has to work together. I can't say that when we're going to be willing to open it because we also have a construction site on the other side, right?
Okay.
So everything, there's a whole bunch of things that has to be coordinated. And that is something that a lot of people would like, but it's something that I cannot just say yes. We have to actually look at everything and work together.
And that's very reasonable. And that's why we're starting this initiative to get everyone talking. There's a ORTP 2050 in progress, making comments, and they're doing the plans. They got most of the plans already in, but this is an opportunity to make people think maybe this is an option, for 10, 20 years down the line that we could open this up or at least fund it, because we know it's got to be funded first. So thank you.
Yeah, there's eventually supposed to be some way to connect up, right? Mitch, I think it was some kind of east-west connector that's on the Kalailoa side, right? That needs to be funded and built up. That's supposed to connect up to Koalakai Parkway eventually. But
Actually,
how
Lisa,
all that works?
let's pause here for a second because I think Board Member Tananis did have a comment that he wanted to say.
I just was looking at the Tripoli. If you shoot them straight across, correct me if I'm wrong, above it is the native garden that you guys have. Below it is the one with all the Hawaiian trails and all the different, I don't know if it's barrel sites or stuff under the trees. And then below that, you have the bird sanctuary. Is that correct?
Yes. So we actually want to protect all of that. Because in that area, we want to make sure that there aren't homeless people going in there, that everybody's aware of all of those things that are in there.
Yeah, so what I'm looking at, Keneola Boulevard would be the right choice, but then where do they connect it from there? Essex or, Tripoli would be the easiest, but there's so much on the opposite side of the fence, both sides where, again, we got to work together on that.
So Tripoli doesn't line up directly with Keoneula, it's lower. So you are right. And then there was, the development on the other side would be ideal to connect up to Keoneula and continue through.
Vice Chair.
Thanks, Lisa. And I just want to clarify, this is nothing about you or Hawakale not opening. I want to be super clear about that. That's not the case. This is about trying to find a way, right? And so, I'm curious though, in the original development plan for Hawakale, there was a parking lot for the luau to be built just below or in between the two areas that Mitch was just discussing. Is that still the plan to build that parking lot there?
I don't know if the alignment of where you put it is correct. I'd have to double check on our plans, but that was not just parking for the luau. we've actually had a parking lot planned over there for the public swim area and that whole side of the project. So that's
Okay, so
not
there-
just.
I just
Luau
want to
Park.
clarify that there is a parking lot going to be established there
Yes.
of one sort or another. So it's not like an area that cannot be developed is my point, right? And so Triple E
No.
is a city managed road and they might have it closed off right now. But I think the point is that it could be easily connected if the right people, so Essex Road, if that were made available, or if there were a quick connector from Waipana over to Triple E, it could happen. And I know it's not as easy as saying like that, but a road already exists right there. So it's about trying to get the people on board, and hopefully that would include you all as well to happen. And that's the point, I think.
So thank you. Appreciate the active discussion. Really good. I do want to point out that I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, this board was very active in getting a discussion started about getting the facilities at James Campbell High School upgraded. And look at us now. Look at the school now. Look at what's coming up, what's ongoing. So small seeds like can do great things. So looking forward to that resolution from you gentlemen. Is that going to be a resolution? Okay. Next month. Okay. Okay. And we understand, Lisa, that, to their point, that this takes some collaboration, and to your point, development on the other side. I still wonder why we have that beautiful VA center there and that those 4 lanes and it goes back down to 2 as we're headed back over to Eva. Kind of interesting. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Moving on to item 4F, Honest Housing Hawaii. Is Felicia Woods online? Seeing none? Okay. Moving on. This part of the program is where we open up to the residents and community for residents and community concerns and community announcements. I have to read this little blurb here. It says limited to 1 turn, 2 minutes per person. Concerns or comments to public safety and government officials should be addressed earlier in the meeting or in this next section for the elected officials. In the interest of time, please be brief with your comments or questions. So members of the community that in the physical meeting space, you may go up to the microphone in the center here, and we'll go from there. Seeing none? Okay. Members of the community online, anyone have any comments? Members of the community? Okay. Seeing no members of the community, I'd like to yes, I know. Seeing no members of the community, I'm going to move on to board members. Board members in the physical meeting space. Does anyone want to act as a community member?
Yes. Melissa's going to put up the Oahu Regional Transportation Plan 2050 is in draft right now. This is a really, really important document because it talks about 25 years of for our transportation system is what we want Oahu to look like in 25 years as far as our transportation system and multimodal transportation system. So there's I just want to show you what this is. This is in the Google Drive for the Eva Neighborhood Board. Can the public access that? Yeah, okay. So
there's a link in the
there's a link in the agenda. So please access this, and on there it shows you where you can look. There's a map, the draft report, the draft appendices, and project and programs. You can look at this whole report, and they have this really crazy great map. It wasn't like this 5 years ago when they did the 2045. So they have where you can interactive map with the programs, and it gives you all the data that you could possibly, most of the data that you could possibly want about the project. And then you can click on a link and make a comment about that project, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whether you think it should be bigger than what it is, or you can ask a question. And I made my first comment yesterday, and I got a response within a day, at least saying thank you for your comment. And it wasn't an auto response. It was from a real human. So Oahu MPO is being really responsive with this, and they find it really important. If you like biking and walking and pedestrian facilities, this plan is full of it. So in the Eva community, Eva Copper Lake community is going to get a lot of it. So it's a good thing. I really want people to take a look at it and make comments, because that's the only way they know whether things are good or things are bad, or what the community thinks. And they really take it to heart. This OMPO has really changed in the last 5 years with the new director and executive director, and then just the folks. They've really hired up a lot of folks, and so it's pretty impressive how good they are. I think we're really lucky to have them. So thank you. And then one more thing. The Hawaii Bicycling League, hbl.org. I got a Golden Gears program running 12 recumbent tricycles, very comfortable. We have a schedule on the website for January, February. So hbl.org, and you can look at our schedule. We also do lots of other education, adult education, and so look at the schedule. Please come in, take it. This is all free. So it's free stuff. So appreciate your time. Thanks.
I have a comment on something you just talked about, but I'll wait. I'll defer to Board Member Tananis has something as well.
Just a few things. This is not to nitpick on any board member or anything like that, but I just personally feel that as board members, we have to be here physically. I mean, if you're off island and stuff like that, you can be Zoom and stuff like that. But nothing about Mike or anybody online, but we're voted by the community to be here. I mean, I would love to have all the board members here in person. Secondly, if possible, with the chair, I don't know if you can or what, we have elected officials here throughout the beginning of the meeting to the end of the meeting. If we could set preference for the elected officials here to move them up on the agenda, because a lot of them are on the end of the agenda and they're here in the beginning of the board meeting. I'm just saying, this is just what I think. And third and fourth thing, we have Principal Greenlane here. Usually he comes for a reason. I haven't seen him step up. I know maybe he wants to say something. I would love you to say something, Principal Greenlane. Secondly, congratulations to Principal or ex-Principal Henry Lee, and please come up, say some few words. We have many, not only our board members, but many people in our community that does a lot for our community, and if possible, step up to the mic. Thank you.
I think that was an invitation, a demand. Not sure.
If you can. Guys, in a while, love to hear you guys' voice.
Okay. Seeing none, I think we do have. Oh, that's Mike's hand. Mr. Plowman, you are recognized, sir.
Coming at you from the mainland tonight. Yeah, Chair, I apologize for being snarky and a little sarcastic earlier about our official record, but I mean, it really is essential that our official record online at the Neighborhood Commission accurately reflects the record of our meetings, and it's become a recurring theme. The other day, I went online after receiving that environmental impact statement for Hawakaloa, and I wanted to go back and look at the September 2014 minutes. So I clicked on the minutes for 2014. There are none. All the 2015 ones got in there. We've got a problem. None of our resolutions from 2025 are in there. Only one of 2024 in there. And I want to make perfectly clear, most of these problems and most of these omissions occurred prior to Melissa being here. So I don't see this as being any of her shortcomings. But our previous neighborhood assistant reached out to me after we brought up the fact that our resolutions weren't there, asked me to send him one of the resolutions that I authored and Military Affairs Committee meeting minutes, and I sent them to him. This was maybe 2 months ago. He said, I'll get those on there today. It's not happening. And so we put on the agenda next meeting to further discuss correcting the record of the official record of this board. It's really important.
Thank you, Mike. And I remember seeing emails from the previous neighborhood assistant stating that he was going to take action on that. So thank you for bringing that up again. Melissa says she's going to take a look at it. So, and
Greatly appreciate it.
thank you. But I do want to go back and say, I don't think you were being snarky, just that we have to stick to the agenda. And like I said, this is sort of an open session area. So I want to go back to comment by Board Member Rogers regarding the transportation subject, John. I intend to put forth a resolution next month to formally request that the State Department of Transportation open up the shoulder lane on H1 West beginning at noon on weekdays. Why do we have to wait till 3 p.m.? Just a thought. I'm just throwing it out there. Is that something I can put on that transportation, regional transportation plan?
Yes, you can make a comment to say that there should be a project. If it's not there already, then or if it's nothing close to it, then it might not happen, but you're putting the idea in someone's head for later on. Yeah.
Okay. So, and I intend to just bring the resolution, and it'll be a short one. But I mean, if you think about why and I get it, the later in the afternoon, the more crowded it gets. But just think about it. If it was open at, say, noon every day, the lanes would, we'd have more lanes and maybe the traffic wouldn't be as bad. It's always going to be bad. But with all the houses that we're continue to build on the west side, traffic will continue to get worse. So let's just open up all the lanes while we can. If you guys remember H1 East a while ago, they narrowed the lanes and made more lanes, right? So we can do that on the west side. So just a thought. Board Member Corey, did you have another comment? Okay. Okay. Any other residents and community concerns? Seeing none? Okay, moving on to other monthly reports. Limited to 3 minutes per report. Follow-up questions and answers and comments limited to 1 turn, 1 minute per person. 6 Alpha Hunt Communities Update.
Point of order. I'm sorry, Chair. We voted for that to be 2 minutes and 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. What meeting was that, Mike?
That would have been the first meeting we had as the new board when we were discussing speaking rules, et cetera.
Okay. We will take a look at that. Melissa and I will look at that in once we have confirmation. Mike, not that I don't believe you, but we'll have that change in the next agenda. Gentry Homes update. Seeing none?
Yes, sorry. Evening all. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please proceed.
Hi. Thank you. Hi. Sunny Rosario for Gentry. Just a brief update. Bit of sad news for those who've worked with her for a while, but Debbie has retired. Well, happy news for her as well. So she has a big family she wants to spend some time with, but she's retired at the end of 2025. And so I'll be your main point of contact moving forward. And I'll put my contact info in the chat. So feel free to please reach out to me about any questions or concerns or things you may want me to present to the board or anything like that. But that's all for tonight, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Gentry? Yes, Board Member Rogers.
I'm trying to find all right, I can't find it on my map real quick enough, but Gentry just finished that new portion, or I think they're done, that new portion that comes all the way to Sing Park, basically to Renton Road, Fort Weaver and Renton Road. And so they run them right along the Leeward Bikeway, the new Leeward Bikeway. And you built, there's a cul-de-sac, and I can't remember the name of the road. Maybe you know the main road going through. Anyway, no, not Renton. Not Renton. The one in Colawaka, and then you make a left. You go all the way to the end.
What's your question?
Eva. Okay, so this is in Eva by Gentry. So coming that new cul-de-sac that you just built a year ago, that comes all the way basically to Renton Road, but it ends before that. It doesn't cross the railroad tracks. So you made an access for your neighborhood, the folks in your neighborhoods, to come out and go, access the Sink Park. But the issue is that you didn't want to pave over railroad tracks because there are issues with that. And what I see now, especially after we've had all this rain, is you see all the bike trails, all the foot traffic. You can just see new trails being made on mud and some grass, but the grass is getting trampled. My point is that it would be wonderful if there's a way that we could somehow use pavers or something to make a cleaner access. Yeah, Keaunui, yeah, make a cleaner access into a Sink Park to Renton Road for your residents and for other residents that are going to come off the Leeward Bikeway to go into the Eva by Gentry neighborhood. So it's just something for food thought. I've been asking about this for a long time, and I was just hoping that we could make that connection because kids could actually use it to walk to school from like my neighborhood, Westlock. They could walk to school using that big wide sidewalk all the way to Holomua. So my hope is that maybe Eva by Gentry could somehow think about that or make a donation, and we could get a bunch of volunteers to build it ourselves. But pavers or wouldn't have to be cement.
Thanks,
It
John.
could be a temporary or something that to just make it a better foundation for people to walk on and ride their bikes on. Thanks.
Thank you, Board Member Rogers.
Yes. Chair, may I just briefly give a response?
Of course.
Yes, no, thank you. I do remember this from a previous meeting as well. And I believe I have the area. So I will definitely see if we can, of course, it'll probably take some coordination due to the rail and stuff. It's not just our land, but I'll see if we can try to have a more, totally get it with the rain and stuff, a more permanent, so to speak, crossway over it. And I'll try and get back to you guys. Well, I'll have something for next month.
I think we have another question from Board Member Tananis.
Just update status on the stoplight at Kamakani and Geiger.
Yes.
I know.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No.
Yes. So we were able to set up a meeting with the environmental department and their consultants to coordinate the traffic signal and the upcoming upgrades to Honouliuli. This coordination is required just because portions of the signal system will be installed on part of environmental's land. We did revise our traffic plan signals based upon the discussions with the department from previous meetings. But our communication from our consultant to the DTS engineer was previous direction from DTS was to provide a new fiber connection to Fort Weaver Road. I apologize, Chair. I just want to read this completely, so I may be close to my 2 minutes. A new fiber connection to Fort Weaver Road, but as there are no existing traffic signal duct lines on Geiger Road from Kapolei Parkway to Fort Weaver Road, and the wireless option has not been approved, providing connectivity is a challenge given the scope of the project. A new traffic signal system is proposed at the intersection of Geiger and Kamakana and would function as a standalone, like several other intersections in the area. Camera, CCTV, everything will be provided within that. And we're just waiting to hear if our new proposal is approved from DTS.
Sorry, sure. So you're saying that you're waiting on they have to attach an electrical line, just speaking kind of layman's terms, from electrical line past Kapolei Parkway all the way to Fort Weaver Road. Is that what you said?
If we wanted to connect within their fiber connection system, so connecting directly to that, and because that's such a large scope, it would take additional time and stuff, we're proposing just a standalone that would not need to hardwire into their grid system.
So if I could follow on with Board Member Tananis' question. So this, I'm not sure if you're involved with other comments that we've made at almost every neighborhood board meeting for the past year. There seems to be something that's interjected into this process. So we talked to DTS, and they said they're waiting on something from you guys, and you guys said you're waiting on something from DTS. And I'm not sure if the interjection is some sort of special thing like the wireless. I'm not even tracking all of that. But the bottom line question is, when can we get just a regular plain stoplight there to increase the safety 1,000-fold and not have another death in our community? That's That's what Board Member Tanaz is trying to get to, because we keep
Yes.
having this can kicked down the road. And it just sounds like nobody's trying to make it happen. We can come up with 1,000 reasons why we can't do something when we really just need one good reason why we can.
Yes, no, and I do hear you. I was the person corresponding with you previously on this. I would, if you have information from DTS on what they're waiting from us, please let me know, and I can make sure our engineer team gets back to it. It's not that we want to kick the can down the road, and I don't believe DTS does either. I believe there's perhaps just extra bureaucracy tied to this that gets in the way of obvious safety implementation. Unfortunately, we're not able to just on our end build the signal and put it in there. We do need their approval.
I understand that. And again, I'd like to go to my final statement on this is if you have a good reason, and we need ownership from both DTS and Gentry. So if one of you can work with the other to move this forward, that makes sense to us. But I mean, obviously, like I said, we've been talking about this for well over a year, and we're a deadline in sight. We don't have something where you can tell us, you know what, by July 5th, X will happen, or by August 12th, Y will happen. So that's what we're looking for. It's just some sort of progress. All we hear is some sort of roadblock on why it can't be done. But on behalf of the community, we're asking you to take ownership of this. I get it that you have to partner with city and county, but to me, you should be championing this instead of telling us reasons why you can't or why you're waiting on DTS. I'd like to know, or as a standing report when you give your presentation, because we're going to ask the same thing of DTS every time they come in and give us a report. The first thing we want to hear is, what have you done? Because what I intend to do from this point forward is actually do what we did when we were asking to get air conditioning in the schools, and that's at each successive meeting we will read the minutes on what we have asked you at the previous meetings. Because that, and I don't feel really bad about putting this on the spot here, but we're not getting any progress on this. No ownership from either organization.
Yes, and I would like to ask what would ownership look like to you? Because from my end and our end, we have been doing our best to communicate and cooperate. And I would love to set up a meeting with you or whoever would like to come with DTS and Gentry, so you can be more involved in the process and understand too, and we can all be on the same page, because we do want to push this forward. I don't want to keep giving you, it's not pleasurable for me to keep giving you can't reasons. We would like to, and so I think it would be fruitful if we could all sit at the table and have a meeting. We did go out there and meet with Representative Alcos at the site itself, and he has tried also to help as well. So I would like to know, what from us would you like to see? Because on our end, we are doing our best. It is not something we keep pushing off. It is discussed, bi-weekly at our team meetings to get this forward. So, I can only say and ask for you to trust in, our team and to, but that's just words from me. And so we have been trying. It's unfortunate that it's just not move forward. And I will say that I did provide a timeline before, and I'm happy to show it again. This is not a short process. It is a yearly thing. It is, my timeline had like 3 to 5 years on it, and which is not something that the community wants to hear, but that is the timeline that was built out by our team and DTS to get this done.
So I appreciate you for extending the invitation. I think, well, I know that as much as we care about it, at least one board member will be able to attend that meeting. I will, and if I cannot, then I will make sure that the invitation is extended elsewhere. So that is something different, and we appreciate that. Secondly, what I would request is at each successive meeting, instead of just giving a standing report on we're here and then open the floor to questions, I would like for you to open up your report with what you have done differently since the last time we met. I think that's fair. And if it's been nothing, it's been nothing. But if there have been efforts put towards it, then it will be great to hear that.
Yes, can do.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, Vice Chair Gauss has a question or
Yeah,
comment.
and thank you for your effort. I think that, obviously I think a lot of the impetus lies on DTS, right? And so I think that meeting is going to be really key so that we can hear in one room what is happening and who's saying what and those kinds of things. So I don't want you to feel like all the blame is being put on you. And so if you could help convene that meeting, I think it'd be really helpful. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
no
Vice
problem.
Chair
And
Gals.
totally, I don't feel like you guys are laying it on one or the other. And I do understand we have our, we're part of it too. So it is right I do appreciate from a citizen perspective that you guys keep bringing it up. And it's just part of my job. So I will, if Chair, I can reach out to you after, if you can let me know who you would like on it. And then we can coordinate. I can help to facilitate a meeting.
Thank you. Don't we have a public transportation committee, John? Okay. Yeah, I will send you an email and copy the rest of the board so we're all on that email. Sound good?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Shall we move on? All right. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your time. Moving on to Haseko Homes update.
Okay. Oh, sorry guys. I keep having a lag every time I try to turn things on. So I don't have any update with you guys. I will probably be scheduling coffee hours as promised for the Huakale homeowners, like I promised in November. John Clark, you can probably look for something in February, but I'll probably be going through all the different associations in the Huakale neighborhood also, and reaching out to the boards to see if they would like me to come and chat with at their meetings. Okay. And other than that, I don't have anything new. Sorry, it's holidays.
Thank you, Lisa. Any comments from members of the board? Vice Chair Gals.
Thank you, Lisa. And I'm just going to go back to the previous comment. If we were to try to set up a meeting with some representatives from the city and DTS potentially to discuss my presentation earlier, would you be open to a meeting to have that discussion?
I think you need to bring the other landowners also, not just city and DTS, right? So I think you need to probably bring in HCDA, the Navy also. But I'd be totally open to sitting down with everybody. I think everybody should meet together, but you can't just limit it to those two. You probably need everybody that's around that area.
That's great. And maybe if I could contact you offline, you can help me figure out the stakeholders that we should be contacting. If you could be that resource, that'd be really helpful.
Sure. Totally willing to do that. Okay.
Thank you. Any comments from members of the board online? Seeing none? Yeah. Members of the community, any comments or concerns? Seeing none. Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
DR Horton Ho'opili update. Seeing none? Okay, moving on to government officials, to 3 minutes per report. Follow-up questions and answers and comments limited to one turn, 1 minute per person. United States Marine Corps Base, Hawaii. Duty officer.
Aloha, everyone. Good to see everyone again. Happy holidays. I hope it went well. Nothing new on our part, except for the working group. Happy to be involved. I think Alex's comments and summarization was accurate. So pending any questions, there's no real updates. We continue to work forward through the working group. So if there's any questions, there's no further update.
Any questions from the public? Online? Any questions on the board? All right. Dinesh?
I just want to say thank you for coming, staying, and giving whatever reports that you guys have. I know you guys don't have to, similar with all the other armed forces here, but being here in the community, staying in a meeting means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Of note, I think for Alex's point of an email that is centralized, I think that would be valuable. I know when we reach out, we try and reach out to the chair and the vice, sometimes the secretary as well. It doesn't always seem to hit everyone, so that might be a good idea.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to U.S. Navy duty officer.
Aloha. Can everybody hear me speaking? I'm using
Yeah,
new
we can hear you.
headphones. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, we can hear you. Great. Thank you.
Okay, great. Aloha Chair, board members, and community members. Happy New Year. Lieutenant Elizabeth Longo, Media Officer for Navy Task Force, Navy Closure Task Force Red Hill here to provide a few quick updates for the Navy. My counterpart for CNRH is out today, so I'd like to highlight a couple of items for Commander Navy Region Hawaii first. The first update for them is that their monthly ship tours are back in action. Those tours are conducted Saturday mornings between 9 and 10:45. Civic and school organizations that are interested in learning more about these tours are encouraged to reach out to them. There's a number provided into the report. I can drop that into the chat as well in case anyone is interested. Community white boat tours, some of you may be familiar with them. The next tour is still in the works, and it should be early this year. Unsure if that's going to be this month or next, but please don't hesitate to reach out for more information on that. Also, early announcement of upcoming Rim of the Pacific, also known as RIMPAC biennial exercise, will be held this summer. More details and dates and information will be shared to the community when received. On the Navy Closure Task Force Red Hill side, just highlighting a couple of items. We welcomed our new Deputy Commander, Rear Admiral Lester Ortiz, this week. We've got a little bit of information that went out today with his accompanying bio. They're both available on our website and mobile app. Also, our newsletters are ongoing and were ongoing through the holidays. The 31st edition was just released on Tuesday. New editions and archives of our newsletter can be found on our website and mobile app. Podcasts are also still being released to the public on our YouTube channel, also at a bi-weekly drumbeat. The next one should come out early next week. On the operational side of the house, Navy Closure Task Force is continuing tank cleaning preparations. We completed ventilating the 8th tank late last year and are poised to begin ventilating the next tank later this month. Pipe cleaning is complete and was completed earlier this month. As such, the task force will begin pipe cutting and removal this year. Lastly, we had our final open house of 2025 last month at the Oahu Veterans Center. Thank you to those who attended. When our next date is solidified for the upcoming open house, information will be published along with details for all other task force public outreach events on our website and mobile app events page. Those are just a couple of things that I wanted to draw attention to, but I stand by the rest of the information in our report. Again, Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for your time this evening. And pending any questions, this concludes the Navy report.
Thank you, United States Navy. Any questions or comments from members of the board? Board Member Rogers?
Hi, thank you for being here. So a few years back, there was two environmental assessments that were done for the Westlock Annex, the weapons station, and one of them was to expand the borders of it, like to fence it off, actually, and build a new road along that new access because of everything that was happening, the expansion of the annex. And then also the second one was to move the weapons from Lulu'ule, build a depot for the Army over there. My question is, now that there's all this money in the new budget, I've asked this question many times in the last few years. I've never really got a good answer, but now we have a new budget that the military got a lot of money. I'm just wondering, is this project back? Is it something that's going to be looked at again, and what the status of that would be? Thank you. And I know you're not going to know the answer now. I'm just bringing that for future, so the next meeting you could let us know if it's possible.
Thank you for your grace on that. I don't have the answer for you tonight, but I will bring that back to the team. And my counterparts likely at region, maybe base as well, might be better poised to answer that at a following meeting.
Okay.
And I did just want to reiterate that the question is essentially with the NDAA and the budget being released, are these projects back on?
Yes, I've always wondered what happened with these EAs. They were going to expand to annex, and it never happened the way it said it was going to happen. So just wondering what's going to happen with the annex. Yeah.
Expansion, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
with the annex expansion.
We have another question.
Okay.
Vice Chair Gauss.
Yeah, thank you. And there was a different representative, I believe, at the last board meeting, and I had asked the question about we had the octocoral. So comparatively speaking, it's not that important of an issue, but I was talking about the octocoral situation, and we have the kayak commuter lane across Pearl Harbor entrance, and I was asking for an update on whether that was going to be reopened and what that might look like. And obviously we didn't get that update today. So I'm wondering if you can find out if there is an update on when that might, if it's going to occur, are there plans, what the situation is. I'd appreciate it.
And I apologize, but could you just repeat that it was the commuter lane?
Yeah, I'll repeat. Sorry, I thought
Thank
I
you.
figured you'd be aware, but I shouldn't have. So it's the kayak commuter lane that goes from Capilina Beach Homes essentially over to Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. It crosses the Pearl Harbor entrance, and it is a commuter channel for a lot of people over here on the Eva side to get to the base and back. And that was shut down when the invasive octocoral operations started. The eradication program started about a year ago, and so we're wondering if that will get reopened.
Okay, understood. I do see the question that was asked related to this. I think it was the November board prior to the holiday recess. So I will go see my counterpart. I believe it was Chief Hyen, who was probably there in November. So I'll connect with him and see if I can dig down the answer to be presented to you at a future board or sooner.
Okay. Thank you for your time this evening. Oh, I'm sorry. We have
Thank
one
you
more
all.
question from one more member of the board. Mr. Plowman, you are recognized.
Hi, thanks for being here, Lieutenant Mike Plowman, Military Affairs Committee Chair. I would just like to add to Board Member Rogers' concern about these projects that we've been asking repeatedly at every meeting for probably the last 6-8 months for an update. I didn't realize that any of those projects might actually be off. I didn't realize that funding may have curtailed them, but the substantial buildup of munitions there is a concern to the community. But also that proposed road change is a very significant change to many people who live right up against where it's going to be. We're very concerned about when and if these projects are going to go forward. So please take it back to your folks that it's a big concern of ours, and we'd really appreciate if actually a presentation that tells the community what is being planned with respect to Westlock and the road for the Iroquois bypass. Thank you very much.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Happy New Year. I'd like
You
to
as well.
actually, thank you. I have to defer. I have a very large portfolio here with my agenda in it. And unfortunately, I was supposed to make a community announcement earlier. So although we passed that, this is a major item that I do need to notify the public of. So one of the letters I received in the email. I'll just read it. It's a quick paragraph. Dear Mr. Clark, this is the notice of the availability for the draft environmental assessment pertaining to the proposed Honouliuli wastewater treatment plant located in Eva Beach on the island of Oahu, which is published in the December 23rd, 25 issue of the Environmental Review Program's The Environmental Notice. Written comments received in response to this draft EA will be considered in the preparation of the final EA. The deadline for comments is January 22nd, 2026. Please submit comments via email to, and it's the word public comment, that's PUBLICCOMMENT at wilsonkomoto.com. That's WILSONOKOMOTO.com. wilsonokomoto.com. So wilsonokomoto.com. And or you can submit written comments via snail mail to Wilson Okamoto Corporation, 1907 South Beretania Street, Suite 400, Honolulu, Hawaii 96826. Attention, Keola Chang. There's some other comments on here, but that's the gist of it. And so I wanted to make sure I got that information out to the public. So moving on to U.S. Representative Ed Case, quarterly report.
Chairman Clark and members of the board, I hope you can hear me. Nestor Garcia, Communications Director for the Congressman, for the record. Mr. Chairman, members, I did put the Congressman's first quarter neighborhood board report in the chat that you can read at your own leisure. I'll try to summarize it real quickly here. He talks about his congressional yearly report for the past 2025. It's a slideshow of his year-end pictures. There's a short video that talks about his constituent services. I want to talk about that a little bit because a lot of people think that he only does his work in Capitol Hill, but he does have a district office in downtown Honolulu, and then that office is preoccupied mainly with dealing with constituents and their concerns that they may have with federal agencies. For example, I take care of veterans' concerns. That is my portfolio. So I deal with veterans and their various concerns and complaints and issues that they have at the Department of Veterans Affairs. He talks about his House Appropriations Committee, which today actually passed out 3 more funding measures to fund several agencies. There are 6 more funding measures or 6 more agencies to fund before the end of the month, which is the deadline that they need to have all these appropriations measures approved to avoid another shutdown of the government. He does talk about his Service Academy nominations. This is a yearly exercise where young men and women approach a member of Congress, hopefully to seek a nomination to one of 4 service academies. Happy to announce, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, that there were 2 students from Campbell High School that were nominated by Congressman Case. One is the principal nominee from the congressman to the Naval Academy at Annapolis. This is a student at Campbell High School by the name of Alice Robeson. Alisa Robeson. Another student from Campbell High School was nominated to the Naval Academy, another young woman, Juliet Caston, to the Naval Academy. And finally, we did nominate another student from Campbell High School to the Air Force Academy, a student by the name of Christopher Tang to the Air Force Academy. All those nominations, and there were several, had to be entered into the respective portals of each of the service academies by the end of this month. That is my responsibility. So I'll be inserting their names to bring them to the attention of the respective service academies for their consideration to accept them as cadets at their respective service academies. One other thing, Mr. Chairman, as we were talking about public comment on several projects that various government agencies are seeking. I want to direct your attention, if you're not aware of this already, the Federal Aviation Administration is gathering information and public comment on one of their major projects. It's a multi-year project exercise. This is the Hawaii Airspace Modernization Project. Mr. Chairman, I don't know whether or not you or your representative from the board was invited to sit in on the initial meetings on the HAMP. But this is a major effort by the Federal Aviation Administration. I raised that because of the flight lines that you people have had to deal with over your community. The public comment period has been extended. The FAA now announced today that they will accept public comments beyond January 31st. The new deadline for public comment is March 15th. March 15th. They want to hear from the community about any concerns they may have with respect to safety, noise, any disruptions to your community. They're looking for efficiency as they evaluate the airspace in and around the state of Hawaii. This is also in conjunction with another project, Mr. Chair, just to quickly wrap up, the Hawaii Airport Modernization Program. That is in conjunction with the Airspace Modernization Project. That is a separate effort, and we'll update the board as that is unveiled. Thank you. Open to any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from members of the board? Seeing none in the physical meeting space, any online? Seeing none. Any questions from members of the community? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Mike, please go ahead.
Mike.
Hi, Mr. Garcia. Thank you very much. With respect to the Hawaii airspace modernization comments, where do I find those documents in the portal for?
Board Member Plowman, what I'll do is I'll submit into the chat the announcement that came from the FAA today. I'll also send a separate note to you, Mr. Chairman, so you can share that with other members of the board should they be interested, and with members of the community as well, yeah, that you represent your constituency. We'd like to hear from, I'm sure the FAA will want to hear from comments from all the communities that might be affected by this project.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Any online, Melissa? Board Member Tananis has a comment.
Hey, Nestor.
Yes, sir.
Maybe you can add on, get too much noise on the corner of Geiger and Kamakana Street. We need a light over there, so so the airplanes can see the lights. I don't know what you can do with the congressman for helping out the community on that corner. We badly need of a traffic light there. If you can work with Gentry, DTS, the wastewater treatment plant, whoever. We've been waiting a long time, but if the congressman can put some fire under whoever's butt, if possible.
Okay.
Thank you, Board Member Tananis. Thank you, Nestor. Appreciate you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sir. Mike, look for the thing on the chat. Yeah.
Moving on, or should I say moving backward one, in keeping with the agenda, I inadvertently skipped over our awesome U.S. Army duty officer. Ma'am?
Aloha. Major Ashley Salome, hopefully become a familiar face. I have the privilege of being your community partner from the 25th Infantry Division. So I plan on being here at least for the next 2 years. So hopefully it brings some continuity. I do have two announcements. The U.S. Army Garrison published a January training advisory for Oahu on January 6th. We appreciate you understanding and the patience with all the military training. In January, the Army in Hawaii will continue training in East Range with Ranger Jungle Tactics, Small Arms Blank Fire from 5 to 6, 20 to 22, and 26 to 31 January. And aviation training from 12 to 17, 20, and 22 January. Daytime only from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Additionally, on Schofield Barracks, there'll be artillery, mortar, and demolition training from 9 to 11, 20 to 28 January, day and night live fire, including late evening and early morning hours. My second announcement is the Wall That Heals. The Wall That Heals will be on Oahu from January 14 to 19. The University of Hawaii, West Oahu campus in Kapolei will be hosting this 3/4 scale mobile exhibit of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. The exhibit includes a mobile education center and honors the 58,281 service members who died in the Vietnam War. The exhibition will be open for 24 hours a day from its opening on January 14th at 2 p.m. until its closing on January 19th at 2 p.m. Admission is free, and the exhibit will be host opening and closing ceremonies on the 14th and the 19th. Thank you for the privilege of being here and pending any questions.
Thank you, Major. Any questions from members of the board? Mr. Plowman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Mike Plowman, Military Affairs Committee Chair. Hoping you guys are having your awesome 4th of July celebration again this year, especially in light of the 250 years celebration. Is that a safe assumption?
I would say yes, but I'll confirm with the calendar.
Okay, well, I would love to reiterate a suggestion that you include a naturalization ceremony on that awesome stage for new citizens, United States of America. So it's been suggested before. previous commanding general thought it was a good idea. The coordination with the State Department didn't work out back 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but maybe this year, it being the 250th anniversary, maybe you might get a more cooperative State Department to have a ceremony fitting that milestone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I would definitely take that back and have an answer of an update for next month.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Major. Stay safe. Moving on to Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative.
Hi, aloha. Kehaulani Pu'u, Parks Deputy Director and Mayor's Rep. Happy New Year, everybody. First, I just want to share some highlights from this month's Mayor's newsletter. So Kurt Lager is the first Chief of Ocean Safety, and he's recently been sworn in. FEMA has updated their flood insurance rate maps, and so residents are encouraged to take a look at it before it takes effect on June 10. Construction's begun at the Waianae Police Station, and transit-oriented housing is coming to both Kapolei and Kalihi. We also want to announce on December 1st that the city launched a new and improved HNL 311 system. And so we encourage residents to use this system to report issues in their communities that need to be fixed or addressed by the city. Residents can submit requests for service via a mobile app, which is available on both Apple and Android devices, or by visiting our HNL 311 website. The system's more intuitive, easier. The concerns or complaints get sent directly to departments. And so departments need to follow up and will send updates to the user. It's a good way, for some of the things that come up at neighborhood board to get an answer quicker. So I just want to encourage, you folks to use that. Okay, so back in November, our last meeting, here's some issues that were raised and our responses. First issue, DTS, Member Rogers requested removal or a refresh of the faded driver's stop for pedestrians ahead placard signs on Renton Road and Kapolei Parkway. And so response is that those are long roadways. Please provide locations and specify requests that signs be removed or replaced. So this is what I would recommend, maybe send it to 311 so you don't have to wait for me to come back next month for a response. But that is the response at this time. They need more specific information. Second was a request for update on our Kalaeloa Regional Park Master Plan master plan. So for DPR, and so we're in the process of hiring a consultant. We just made a selection like this week for consultant for the Kalaeloa Park Master Plan. So we anticipate moving forward in this fiscal year, and we are planning to set up a group, like to have different stakeholders be a part of this master planning working group. So we will keep you folks, I'll keep you folks, because I come from parks, updated as we move forward on the project. Next issue raised was Representative David Alcos raised various concerns with Ewa Pu'uloa District Park. And so we mahalo him for raising the concerns. He did request a meeting with our director, Laura Thielen. So Laura, our district manager, Jack Torres, met with David Alcos, and they do have some next steps coming up, but they discussed the poor conditions of the field, watering, and so forth. So there are some next steps coming. Also in November, Senator Favela asked for an update on his request to change the name of the Honouliuli treatment plant. He noted that it is a traditional name and this has been an ongoing request. So response is that the city has evaluated this request, including speaking to the principal of Honouliuli Middle School. The city is not planning to remove the place name Honouliuli from the treatment facility at this time. Next request, also from Senator Favela back in November, was to correct the name of the transit center. He mentioned that the transit center is actually part of EVA and not Kapolei. Response is that Hawaiian names were selected by an approved Hawaiian naming working group and are consistent with the established Kapolei long-range plan. 2 more issues to go. Resident Tara requested an update regarding protecting our aquifer from the landfill in Kalailoa. She said she did email the mayor and did not receive a response. City's response is that we do not have a Kalailoa landfill. ENV's PIO would be more than happy to assist Tara directly and address any concerns regarding the landfill. And I'll type his information in the chat so that she may reach out to him. And last concern raised back in November is that resident is concerned about a potential monster house at 91-949 Kuhina Street. The resident is requesting an investigation to determine if this is an unpermitted monster house and for the city to take enforcement action if it is. So on December 2nd, 2025, the Department of Planning and Permitting Building Inspection Section conducted an investigation and revealed all building construction is consistent with alteration of building permit. And we have the building permit number. And that permit was issued back on September 3rd, 2025. And BP and another on July 18, 2024. So at this time, no building code violations are observed at this time. That's it for Mayor's report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Kehao. Any comments from members of the board? Board Member Rogers.
Hi, Kayal. It's always wonderful to see you. I communicated directly with Complete Streets, got back to me. I don't know how that's going to be resolved. It might be a money thing, but they did get back to me about it. And you go, I just was in town today and there's signs out there in Kalihi with the same problem. So they got them all over and I'm sure they're just got to figure out a way to go get them and have some cash to do that. So my issue is, and I brought this up before, is behind Sing Park where the Leeward Bikeway traverses to the Westlock path, which I see that you folks just went out there and took care of the grass and everything, cut the grass. So, and I checked the most recent GIS maps and I see that there's now a bikeway easement. So this is one of the issues because the land was owned by the homeowners association there, and we needed to get a bike easement done, and all that was done last administration, and it looks like it finally went through because in the latest GIS map it actually shows the easement. It's got an easement number, and I can send you all that. But you guys were doing the maintenance, so I said, okay, this is all falling into place. So there's that gate there that's wide open that allows access to the bikeway and the U.S. and Wildlife area, and then all the way to Honouliuli Stream. And so, and cars have been going back there. There's the mud, because of the rain, you can just see the mud tracks, so you can see what's going on back there. And they're dumping stuff and all that. And I just was hoping that we could work on finding an owner of that gate just to close that cattle gate. Because when I first moved here, it was always closed. And then it became open, and we're still having troubles getting it closed. So I appreciate anything you can help us with. Thank you. Well, I got to stop.
Well, that was a 2-minute question, John. So
I'll follow up on that one, John. Thanks.
thank you. Any questions from other members of the board? Seeing none in the physical meeting space, seeing none online. Thank you, ma'am. Happy New Year.
Mahalo. Happy New Year.
Moving on to Councilmember District 1, Councilmember Andrea Tupa. Oh, you're right. I apologize. Kehao, are you still online?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Rep. Alcos called me out. I inadvertently skipped over comments from the community. Rep.
Hello, KL.
Aloha.
Hi, Happy New Year. You said that you was putting a committee together for the Kailailoa Park. Is it from people on the outside or only in staff? Because if it's allowed on the outside, I would want to be on the committee if possible.
We're not there yet, but it'll be a mix of both internal and external stakeholders. Yeah. So
Keep
there
me in
is a
mind.
plan to okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rep. Any other comments from members of the community?
Chair. Hey, Cal, this is Shane Greenland, Eва Beach resident. I thought it was brought up, might have been in November, could have been October. The street signs that are in Papipi Road and the sidewalk. If you look at the construction that's happening on Papipi Road right now, it's much more evident that those signs need to come out so that there's a clear path for students that are walking or riding to school. There has to be a much better place to put those signs or just get rid of them because they're not really followed, read, or used, but I think they need to come out. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Greenland. Okay, Hal?
I don't see it in the last mayor's report, and there wasn't one for October. But are these the same signs that we just like when I was here?
Yeah, same
year-
one. The one they moved
same
6 inches
ones.
away. Yeah, same
I
ones.
think it was 4 inches. They moved
Yeah.
it.
Okay. I'll make sure we put it back in the mayor's report for response and follow up with DTS.
I want to say back in November, either October or November. It was actually November. Was it November or August? No, it was September. I don't know. We had a bunch of parents here that were. One of the parents had a child fall off the curb and into traffic. Because they were trying to get around the sign. So it's literally an accident waiting to happen, KL.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on now to District 1, Councilmember Andrea Tupola. Seeing no one, moving on to Councilmember District 9, Councilmember Augie Tuba or his representative. Seeing none, moving on to Board of Water Supply Rep.
Aloha Chair, board members, Happy New Year. Want to report we had 4 main breaks in your community in the month of December. We had an 8-inch break at 506 Pohakupuna Road. We had an 8-inch at 91809 Oama Street, another 8-inch at 91627 Pupu Street, and an 8-inch at 911103 Kuhina Street. That was all from about the middle of December to the end of December. I just handed the board an announcement. Yesterday, we announced with the Department of Environmental Services that we are doubling our rebates on a number of products. So now if you're remodeling your home, you can get $200, up to $200 for a toilet and $150 for a clothes washer. We also have some commercial rebates as well. And that concludes my report. Any questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions from members of the board? Seeing none? Seeing none online? Any questions from members of the community? I remember that time, Rep. Seeing none? Okay.
Mahalo. Have a great evening.
Happy New Year. Department of Education. Yes. Standing ovation, everyone.
Good evening, board chair, board members, both present and online. My name is John Henry Lee. I'm interim complex area superintendent, so more of just a personnel update. I've been on the job for about 3 weeks now. Previously, I served as principal at James Campbell High School for the past 10 years. So interim for right now. The acting principal is April Hosino at Campbell High School. She was a vice principal, so she'll be serving until a permanent can be found, or I come back to the school. So there are different options out there also. But proud to serve. Obviously, Eva Beach, Kapolei, two booming areas that are in need of capacity. So that'll be some of the difficult decisions that will have to be made. So look forward to working with the board and sharing information and searching for solutions together. We want to acknowledge Principal Greenland, obviously a leader in our community too. So if he wants to give any updates on his school, he's welcome to do that too. Any questions for myself?
I have a couple, but I'll wait till the end. Board member Corey Rosenly. Sorry, I keep butchering your name. Sorry, Corey.
It's okay. First of all, John, thank you so much for coming. It's really nice to have a Department of Education representative here. We've had many meetings where that has not occurred, so this is a breath of fresh air, and thank you for sitting for 2.5 hours. Okay. My question is, and putting you on the spot in your new job, do we have any update on Ho'opili Elementary? Okay.
Unfortunately, fortunately, the design is done. The construction funding is not there yet. So they are in desperate need of actually 2 elementaries in Ho'opili. So as soon as the first one will be built, it will already be at capacity. So those students are already attending 3 different schools, Eva Elementary, Kapolei Elementary, and Barbers Point Elementary. So redistricting has already happened there. And it's going to have to continue to happen. So it will impact all of this, not all of the majority of the schools in both Kapolei on Eva Beach. There are just not schools built. So of course the high school will need to be built there also, and anticipated enrollment will probably mirror Campbell High School at 3,000 without drawing anything from Eva Beach.
So following up, we have the funding for the planning that's been done. Okay, is this a DOE priority right now for construction? Has this been proposed to the legislature in the superintendent's CIP budget? And have any idea how much that would be?
It is a priority for the DOE. The challenge lies with the legislature, which will hold the purse strings for the funding for both the elementary and the high school. The need already is there if you drive through the Ho'opili area. And that's not the only development that is already delivering homes. We have developments in Eva Beach that is under construction and delivering homes. Ho'opili, and there are also construction plans within the next 2 to 3 years for West Kapolei. So there are housing developments that will be starting there. And if you're familiar with that area, there are no schools past Ho'okele. So that is the challenge.
Thank you, sir. Other questions from other members of the board? Board member Tananes?
Congratulations. Just if you have any updates on the new phase 1 of the sports complex for Campbell, how is it going? Any problems, delays, or how are we on track with the
lights?
Yeah.
Are we under the lights this fall?
And I do want to say congratulations to our champion football team that helps create the loop that was started by our girls' inaugural flag football team. So that was fantastic. And for the boys to bring it home, we saw how the community celebrates both of them. So tremendous there. Construction is continuing. It is on track. Whether or not we can have the season, the lights on for next season. Right now we are playing soccer. They're playing day games when possible, but majority away. We anticipate it to be completed in 12 to 15 months. So the field is there already. That was completed, of course. But the locker rooms, the weight rooms and whatnot, the lights, that should be done in about 12 to 15 months if it is on track. But that will probably miss the next season for football, maybe possibly catching the soccer seasons.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Questions from other board members online? Seeing none, I just have a couple. First, big mahalo for being here. Thank you so much. That's a double-edged sword, though, because I was going to ask the same question that board member Tananes asked, but he asked about the sports complex. The other side of that coin is read this because I had to write it down because I was so excited. Do you plan to attend these meetings on a recurring basis?
As much as possible. Yes, I would like to, open up and make sure the communication is there from both myself and to hear the questions, comments, and concerns.
Thank you, kind sir. Any questions from members of the community? Seeing none in the physical space, any online? All right. Welcome. Happy New Year. Aloha.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right, moving on to Governor Green's representative, Hara. CNN? Sound like I said CNN. Seeing none. Hawaii Department of Transportation quarterly report. Seeing no one. Okay. Moving on to Senate District 19, Senator Henry Aquino. Not seeing anyone. Senate District 20, Senator Kurt Favela. Not seeing anyone. Moving on to Senate District 21, Senator Mike Gabbard or his representative.
Yes. Aloha board and community members. I'm Melanie. I'm Senator Gabbard's community liaison, and I'm here to send the senators best wishes for a happy new year. And I'd like to invite everyone to Senator Gabbard's first Listen Story community meeting of the year. That's happening on Saturday, January 17th from 9 to 10 a.m. at the Kapolei High School Teachers Lounge. Also, Senator Gabbard's January newsletter is out now with a few updates on what he's been working on in the community and at the Capitol. And I'll make sure I drop that link into the chat. And as always, if anybody has any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to our office. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions back to the senator.
Any questions or comments from members of the board in the physical meeting space? Seeing none. Any online? Not seeing any. Any questions or comments from members of the community? Not seeing any. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Happy
you,
New
guys.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Moving on to Senate District 39, Representative Elijah Pierik or his rep. Not seeing anyone. Representative District 41, Representative Julie Reyes or her representative.
Aloha, mai kako, everybody. My name is Makalina Awa.
Happy New Year. Aloha.
Happy New Year. I am representing Julie Reyes Oda. She just wants to reach out, everybody, give out aloha makahiki ho. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year to you as well. Is that the report? Is that it? Just
Oh, sorry, my apologies. So for the new year, Julie Reyes Oda shares her wishes and emphases, all that. She really wants to reflect, renew, and strengthen the Ewa Beach community, District 40, policy leadership work. She participated in the Council of the State Government National Conference in Chicago, focusing on state-level issues in collaborating and receiving the Henry Toll Fellowship, community and environmental oversight, ongoing work with the Pu'uloa Range Training Facility, working group to address environmental, health, and transparent concerns affecting nearby communities. For education, she attended the Excellent National Summit on Education to collaborate on education reform and student outcomes nationwide. For local engagement, she took part in the Ewa Beach Christmas Parade, reinforcing commitment to community, connection, and visibility, history, and culture, visiting the Hawaii State Archives and Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum to learn more about Hawaii's military aviation and cultural history. That is the report that I have for you guys today.
Mahalo. Any questions from members of the board in the space? Seeing none. Any questions from anyone online? Any questions from members of the community in the physical meeting space? Okay. Thank you, kind sir. Please pass our regards to Rep. Reyes Oda. Happy New Year.
Mahalo, aloha.
Moving on to Representative District 42. No, just joking. Just joking, Rep. District 41, Representative David Alcos.
Aloha, guys, and Happy New Year. 2025 is over. 2026, let's work hard, let's get things done, and let's work together. I think 2026, is going to be an awesome year. And again, congratulations to the James Campbell High School football team and the girls, but also, Principal, I just want to tell you thank you for all your work that you did for Campbell High School and our community. I mean, you did so much for our school, and you had so much respect by everyone. There was only so much great things that people talk about you. Unfortunately, when I was coaching there, I didn't end up, being there with you, but always been a part of my alumni, James Campbell High School, and we're going to miss you out there. But I'm glad that now you're working still with the community and continue building our community. So thank you and mahalo. I just want to say that I do sit on the health committee and the homeless committee and also on the finance committee. So this past, what's her name from city and county? We were just talking, Kehao. We had a meeting with Laura Thielen, and sitting down with Laura Thielen, we talked about the parks and how we should get water. Thank God that we got this big rain. Our parks are looking so much better now with this big rain, but unfortunately we shouldn't be waiting for the big rain. We should be fixing our irrigation and our system. So we talked about some of that, and our discussion was she was going to put in some special funding and try to do some immediate work on Pualoa District Park. So she was going to start working on that. On top of that, we talked about our community, where she noticed that we talked about that we didn't have enough rec centers here. Right now, if you look at the rec centers around the island, some of them have 2, 3, and maybe even 4 rec centers based upon the numbers that people live in here. So I'm going to continue working hard in getting a rec center here with swimming pools, with skateboard parks, and, just try to make it continue just like another community having, so I don't want to be left out with our parks out here. Hang on. I don't want to miss too much. We as a caucus went around the island, and we discussed and had meetings with the communities. And we did a tour from Hawaii Kai all the way to Waianae, and even at Eva Makai School. And we talked to the people and listened to the people of their concerns. A lot of their concerns was about cost of living, education, and safety. So I drafted up some bills this year. If you guys want to take a look at it, it's addressing all those issues that what we heard about. And really would like you guys to check that out. I got one more thing. I did talk to Chris Todd. He is the finance chair. He is also wanting to help out the city and county and do matching funds, whether if it's $5 million from the city and county to help with Kailailoa Park or our rec centers. So he didn't say he's going to. It is a talking point that we are continue on working with, but they're doing it in Big Island and they're doing it someplace on different places on the island, so we can get funding in that way from the state to help, and also working with private entity to help bring in money to our community. So if you guys have any questions, I'm open.
Thank you, Rep. Any questions from members of the community, board members in the physical meeting space? Board member Tananis?
Just a quick one. Across the street, the park across the street. I had some coaches that, they played a softball, baseball, little league and stuff like that. My nephew's one of the coaches for the knuckleheads and stuff like that. But the problem is what's happening is that other nationalities, and I can say what, you went out there already, go out there and wreck the field. But our parks people don't kind of manage the area. There's homeless there. I'm not putting bad on our parks, but you know, you got to get the right people in the right places. And what happens, it affects our kids and people who want to use the park. So I don't know what we can do to help our community, not only with the homelessness, but with these individuals that go there, trash the park, leave all the trash, and you know, after they don't mind using the park, but you know, grate the the dirt down, back down, and stop leaving these big divots in the ground for our kids going tripping, you know, and work with the community, but we're not getting that. So we just need the help. That's all. I'm pretty sure you went out there. I think I talked to you the parade time about it, but if possible.
I definitely will work on that. We do have a problem with, you know, from top down, from the prisons to the police to doing their job and everything. The problem is not the police not doing their job. It's just above that has issues and problems of finding help for these guys.
If I could, I'd like to dovetail on Board Member Tanana's comments, going back to Board Member Rosenlee's comments. What is the barrier? Just kind of flipping the script here, but are we setting the expectation? And I think this is the foundation of Mitch's question or statement. Are we setting the expectation that our parks personnel are supposed to do certain things? You know what I mean? Are we setting the expectation so low that they think they're just supposed to come out there and maybe, you know, pick up rubbish, or I don't know. But what is the barrier from them maintaining our parks in a way that maybe the parks are taken care of further east?
Would love to answer that question. Is kind of throwing people under the bus, and which I don't like doing. But I believe
How is that throwing people under the bus?
I believe the superintendent that watching over the jobs that what we do out in our community. I ran a company for 20 something years. And if I don't hire good quality workers that overseeing my workers, then I got to do something to fix it. But if our superintendents for our parks not holding their workers accountable for what needs to be done, and they're working with the unions, they cannot get fired, you know, but I try to communicate that with Laura Thielen. I try to communicate it with Kay Howe. You know, there's an accountability that we have to hold to our workers. And that accountability is at that level up, not pressing on that level. And then now they're going to say we can't get workers because it's hard to get workers. The guy that called in sick for 6 months, you know, I don't know.
I don't see how that's throwing people under the bus. I'm just asking why is the treatment of the park seem disparate? It's different. Let me finish. It's different on over here. And we had the same conversation several years ago when the mayor at the time talked about upgrading the parks, but he was going to start over on Hawaii High and work this way. And then when they made it to Ala Moana, they ran out of funds to upgrade the parks. So it just seems kind of odd. That's all. So just kind of wonder what the barrier was. That's all. But if you feel like I'm throwing people under the bus, then no need to answer. So thank you. Any other questions from the community or the board? John?
Yeah, a legislative question. I always get confused because you're in the second year of your term. So all the legislation that you folks that was in the legislature last year that didn't get passed, it's still there. Those bills are still active, correct? So we gotta go. So you can be talking about all the old bills plus you're entering new bills.
No.
Okay. Tell me
Some of the bills died, and some of the bills, most of them died, and we get to introduce 10 new bills on the House side. On the Senate, they have an amount of bills that they reintroduce on their side as well.
How do we know a bill died? I mean, if it didn't get passed, then is that died or?
A lot of times it doesn't get. So I'm going to speak about my bill. If I introduce him to the chair, and John Rogers sitting there, he's one of the chairs, and he don't want to hear it. Right when he didn't want to hear it, it's dead already.
Okay, that's what you mean died. It never went to committee.
It never went to committee.
So if a bill went to committee, see, I just needed
But
that. I
it dies
appreciate that.
also in committees because it goes 3 times around.
Right.
And it goes in the House and then 3 times in the Senate. And, you know. And
So if it made it through all the committees, but just didn't make it through the,
sometimes the committee may pass it or deny it, but send it for next year, but you have to introduce it as your bill package for next year.
Thank you. Any questions from members of the community?
John, I had one just in case. I did talk to a couple principals. If you guys want to hear about it, what their concerns and what they need. If not, I can bring it up next month.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on to District 42, Representative Diamond Garcia. Yeah, you know, okay. Moving on to committee reports. Parks Committee,
No report.
no report, okay. Education Committee, no report. Transportation Committee,
You got the you got the resolution, so that was part of our report. It's the initiative we're working on.
AMPO,
AMPO, just look at the ORTP, Oahu MPO, look that website up, look for ROTP 2050, and please make comments. A lot of stuff good stuff going on over there.
thank you, John. Economic Development. Ms. Susan, climate change? No one, okay. Hawaiian Affairs. Military Affairs?
Thanks, Chair. I just want to pass along a big mahalo to Vice Chair Dr. Gauss for all of his continued work, hard work with the PRTF working group, looking out for the health and safety, quality of life of our community. He's done a lot of work on that. We would greatly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Indeed. Thank you, Vice Chair Gauss. Okay, moving on to announcements. I would also like to thank our NCO assistant, Miss Melissa. We could not do what we do without you. Appreciate you. Happy New Year. Next regular meeting scheduled for Thursday, February 12th, 7 p.m., virtually via WebEx and in person at the Eva Beach Public Library. Regular board meetings are broadcast every first Sunday at 6 p.m. and every second and fourth Friday at 10 a.m. on Olelo Digital 49. And following up on Board Member Tainana's remarks, we'd love to see all board members. If you're here locally, please attend in person. We are POW.